Okay. All right, welcome. I'd like to call the Selectmen's meeting of Monday, October 21st, 2024. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Public input.
Yes.
You guys are on the agenda, right?
Okay, yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Should I start?
No, because you're on the agenda. Public inputs.
Public inputs
Oh,
for
General.
no, no,
So
no.
just general.
didn't schedule per se.
I'm looking for them right now. Let's see them in here.
Did I not print them? Okay,
What? I don't know. I don't see them.
I'll print them, sorry.
It's okay. Come back to them. Come back to them. All right. Appointments. Mark Paraskeva. Did I pronounce that right?
That's me, Paraskiva.
Paraskeva and Rich Page regarding 19 Mile Bay beach rule enforcement.
Right.
Come on up to the table. The floor is yours.
Okay, so first off, we appreciate this time to be able to sit down and kind of talk a little bit about some of our observations. My name's Mark Paraskiva. I own a home on 11 Union Wharf Road. Rich Page has been a 66-year summer resident here in Tufton Borough. And his family at one point owned the address at
19 Mount Bay Lodge as it used to be, but it's not. There's
Right.
houses there, cottages there, but it's not really business anymore.
So I don't know whether you folks had received any pictures from Dennis, the rec director. I had sent him some emails of some of the happenings down on the bay.
No, Dennis hasn't been in to see us in a while. He's been
I know he was
Recuperating,
he's-
is that
out of commission there
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
So I called the police twice this summer on issues that had been happening at the bay because I didn't feel like it was my responsibility to enforce the rules at 19 Mile Bay. The first time there was a group of folks, maybe an entire family, that were drinking and smoking on the beach, or really in the water. They were sort of trying to hide it. And so I called the police and they dispatched an officer to come out, and he spoke with them. And I guess he was from Braintree and they were from Braintree, and they struck up a little bit of a conversation. But of course, when they saw him pull in, they started hiding all of their stuff. And after he left, they started drinking out of cups, so it wasn't like anything changed, behavior changed. What most upset me was really I'm there with my children, my grandchildren, and I want to have a safe day where I don't have to have smoke coming up. And the smoke is, they're in the water, but the smoke is coming right at me because, as you know, the wind typically will blow off of the water toward the beach. And so I called the police came, they spoke to him, and then they left. And then after, they continued to, drink out of cups, and then one of them confronted me and said, are you the guy that called the cops? And I said, yeah, I am, Well, you could have spoken to us about it. Well, I'm not going to do that because they've been drinking all day. This guy was aching for a fight, and I was waiting for him to hit me because I was going to wait, then I'm going to press charges against him. So the five of them came over and started all confronting me. So in my opinion, that it's becoming a safety issue. It's not just, me enjoying the beach on a nice summer day and everybody else, all the families having a nice day, but it's becoming a safety issue. So that was kind of the first incident in a nutshell. Then when the second time I called the police, this was going on. If you can take close-up look, there was a group of people that were drinking out of bottles out on the dock. You know, they had taken all their bottles out to the dock with them, and they were drinking out there, and they had sort of taken over the whole picnic area, and it was, you know, when I saw the bottles, I was just like, this can't happen, you know? I mean, the rules, you know, the board is there, and people are just ignoring the board. They're just doing whatever they want to do. And this has been the worst summer I've seen since I've been, 9 summers now on 19 Mile Bay, and Rich has got about 66 summers on the bay. And so, you know, we're just here to maybe figure out a few things. One is there, you know, the rumor is that because federal funds were used to build the beach, that you cannot really close the beach or do anything with the beach, like make it a town beach only. Is that true or not true? Do you know?
No,
It's not true.
not that I know.
Okay.
I'm under
So-
the understanding that we can make the rules and enforce the rules on the beach all we want,
Right.
but we can't do anything past the water line. That's state
Oh.
and marine patrol.
Get
So
Yeah,
is-
no,
is-
actually the policeman called Marine Patrol because they were out on the dock,
Yeah.
and the 2
Are
Marine
they
Patrol
coming by a
officers
boat,
came.
or are they coming driving in?
The
Both.
Marine Patrol came in
No,
by
no,
boat.
no, these-
The people came in on the beach. They were walked out to the docks.
So they're not coming by boat?
No, no. No, they're spending their day on the beach, and
But the Marine Patrol stated that because they were, I mean, the county police, sheriff, was it sheriff? County
Yeah,
police
it was
said
a Sunday,
because it's on
and
a
so-
dock, it's on the lake, and the Marine Patrol had to be called, so.
yeah, it was a Sunday, so they had to dispatch a sheriff. And I'm not sure if we're covered on Sundays anymore or not here in town, but they had to dispatch somebody from the county, and it took them about an hour to get there, but these people were still there drinking on the docks and everything. So he said, I'm gonna call Marine Patrol. So 2 Marine Patrol guys came in. One told them get off the docks, forced them to the water. Then they both walked back around and spoke to them. Now what came of both of these incidents, I don't know. I don't know if they issued citations. I think open containers, period, would be against the law in public. Is that not true? Does that sound right?
No, that's not correct.
So I could walk down the street with an open container,
Open container in a vehicle is a no-no.
right?
Per town ordinance, it's consumption of, so it's not possession,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, in this case, it was consumption of open containers in the beach area. So that was one of the things we'd love to see more families from town using the beach. It seems like on the weekends, there's a lot of plates from out of state, okay? I bring my family there. I spend most of my summer on the beach. Rich spends most of his summer on the beach. We're there almost every day. You know, you'll find us there. But it's just gotten to the point where it's getting a little bit scary for me and for my family. I mean, there's behaviors that are inappropriate. That same group of people were doing things like what I might have called mooning back in my day, on the wall, 5 of them sitting along the wall, sort of mooning the beach, and people taking pictures of them from their group. It's just not behavior. You know, I don't want my grandchildren to be exposed to this kind of stuff. So for me, the ideal situation would be, let's make it a resident beach. But, you know, if we're not going to do that, if we're unable to do that, then we need a bigger presence in terms of enforcement, because I can't enforce the rules. And people are just, you know, they know there's really no enforcement down there. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to call the police and have them do it, you know. So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, you did the right thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid it, but I still wound up getting it.
The last thing you want to be is confrontational.
Yeah.
It won't work out good for anybody.
No.
No.
It's more like a safety and comfort kind of concern. But in other years, there's been certain instances, but I know that my son, originally there was a group of lifeguards there. My son happened to be in that first group. But when I was there, it was pretty smooth. There weren't the issues, and I know because I'm there like 8 hours a day. So there weren't the issues on the beach. And I think it's since probably since, I'd say, COVID, they've increased, and I didn't realize at the time, but then I realized Wolfboro closed the beaches except for residents, and I think some of the people that might have gone there have come here, I'm not sure, but it seems like.
It's a reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know what to do about it. It bothers me that it was a pleasant atmosphere there, and that there were actual signs that people don't, look at. And I spoke to a woman one day about, she had dogs, and there were several dogs, and I said something. She gave me some wise answer back. That's my issue.
Her friends told her it was okay. I
Yeah,
believe.
that's what she said. My friend said it was okay, but I don't want to be doing that. I mean, I've spoken to other people about, drinking or smoking or something, and I am not usually pleasant, but there I try to be nice when I approach people, because most men were not going to bother. They're not going to answer me back, but women answer you back, and it's just trying to avoid those kind of situations. I don't know what we can do other than, do you know why Wolfboro did what they did?
The people did it. The town of Wolfboro didn't do that.
The people.
They voted, they have
The
the
voter did
Yeah.
that. They brought forward a
petition.
petition warrant article, and it passed. The town of Wolfboro itself had nothing to do with that.
Interesting.
So in order to do that, if we were, just for example, if we wanted to do something like that, we'd have to get X amount of signatures.
You could,
Do you know what that is?
25 people,
How many?
25.
25?
We've heard, this is my third year sitting at this
Right.
table, and
Right.
you were the third person to come up with a complaint. We've had one other person and you two
Really?
that have said anything in the
Okay.
3 years that I've been sitting
Yeah.
here. We hear it. We hear it. But I think the last thing we want to do is start being restrictive.
So, and I understand that, okay, and I'm not, you're gonna do what you feel is right. But I think if we're gonna enforce the rules, we've gotta come up with a plan to enforcement. And if that's simply the police pulling in, walking the beach up and down twice a day at different times, that's gonna give people concern that, hey, I know that the police come here now, because generally speaking, they don't, no offense to the policeman behind me, but, and usually they're doing a turnaround. They're coming to the park, and maybe stop, look for a minute, and leave.
Well, part of the issue is that for the last 2 years, or maybe a little more, we had a really
Small
restricted force,
right,
trying to find officers to work.
right. And so Sundays, if I'm wrong, Sundays, they had to dispatch a sheriff,
Right.
and Sundays is the busiest day, by the way. That's when we get the biggest crowds down there, Saturday and Sunday.
But we have been able to, we've hired one officer, I think we're in the process of hiring
One's in the academy, I heard, or something.
No, that didn't work out. And then there's another officer who's applying. So that'll bring us up to 4 officers,
Right.
or 4 including the chief, which is a better force.
Double the size
Right.
of what we had.
So
So
again,
now
that's
we-
great, but we need somebody to actually,
Right.
of those officers, somebody really to walk through there and check on folks and, how's your day? And because there's other people that drink. I'm not opposed necessarily to the people that are quiet drinkers that have their cooler, but the people that come down and get raucous and smoke and don't even think about any consequence for their behavior.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly the smoking, the smoking is what really aggravates me more than anything.
No, we hear you.
Can I offer something else?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have the rules, and so there's no one there to enforce the rules. So someone can talk to them, they can call the police can come, and if the person puts it away, how did the police cop, they don't know what they had. When there were lifeguards there, they were paid by the town. They called the police. Then when the police came, they actually did something because this person saw them doing it. So I don't know what the answer is, but I know if you have rules and people, it's pretty obvious, those 2 signs in both entrances. And people just, they either don't read them or they don't care.
Well, in
They don't
the
care.
instance of the one people that confronted me, I said, you see the signs, you know, you read the sign. Oh, we never saw that sign. And they said, we've been coming here for years. And I said, well, if you've been coming here for years, then you have seen the sign, you know?
Yep.
I mean,
This is the ordinance that,
and I've spoken to some people in town that I know, and I asked them, I noticed that not a lot of Tuftonville people were coming to the beach. Because I know the people here have seen them. And one of the reasons is the influx of people, mostly from Massachusetts, but I don't know what the answer is, but it's just that,
We're not sure what the answer is
Yeah.
either, and we've discussed it on numerous occasions. And we all came away from the table saying, the last thing we wanna do is put more signs, more restrictions.
well, it won't matter if we don't enforce them. That's the
Right.
point.
Yeah.
And enforcement's gonna have a budgetary impact.
Well, a walk through twice a day, I don't think is a budgetary impact.
Maybe, maybe not.
what about, like, why were lifeguards eliminated? Do you know why they stopped?
Well, for one thing, we're
Just
having
trying to find some.
difficulty getting
Yeah, I
them.
understand, I know that. It's
So,
nuts.
that's probably, obviously, being the small town that we are, it's a little bit
Yeah.
more difficult.
Cause that, I mean, if that, is that just a small pool of applicants, or is that a monetary thing also?
It's a small
Small pool of applicants.
We've never refused Parks and Rec
Okay.
money for life saving.
Cause I was saying, when they did have them, it was, they weren't those kind, when that problem existed, they called the police.
Getting workforce issues are a real problem at this point. Because remember, we live in a town that is aging.
Yeah.
And so we are limited to the pool that we can, and yes, we can pull from other towns, but there's not much around us to pull from. A kid's not gonna drive from Guilford,
Yeah.
over to here to work as a lifeguard. So we are kind of, to a certain degree, restricted.
We're
Yeah.
certainly open to having further
Well,
discussions with,
yeah.
with the police chief, the Parks and Rec director,
Right.
see if there's a
I mean,
resolution.
maybe Dennis could recruit out of Kingswood in the spring or something, I don't know, that's one possibility.
Sure.
I'm just trying to throw out ideas for you.
Maybe.
I think, again, a real walkthrough across the beach, when people start seeing that's gonna happen, every day at a different time, then I don't think they're gonna be as open to drinking and smoking as they might be. And if you wanna check in with Rich and I to see if there's anybody that's been smoking or drinking, we're gonna be there, not more than likely we will be there,
Mhm.
but, I wanna be able to enjoy it without having to worry about it, to worry about somebody confronting me because I called the police and I want the rules to be enforced. It's just all about the enforcement of the rules. These rules are per order of the selectmen, but if there's no enforcement, people are gonna ignore them.
Do you, I'm realizing the situation that, just, you don't have the manpower to do it right now. And we there see someone doing something that is it best not to say anything to them and to contact the police?
My humble opinion, and I'm sure the police chief would agree with me, is to not confront anybody.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
If you see somebody breaking a rule or breaking a law, call it in.
Yeah.
Let them do the enforcement. I don't think it's ever a good idea to confront somebody. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You might get your ass kicked.
Well,
that ain't gonna happen with me, but
we
might
can
shoot
You never know.
they might shoot me.
Anyway, I think, a little bit of visibility, let's say, might go a long way to helping the situation.
Sure.
Yeah. And again, if you have any other questions, I don't know if Mrs. Rosine had anything she wanted to comment, but, that's kind of where we're coming from now. I don't want my grandchildren exposed to inappropriate behavior.
Sure.
Broken glass. I mean, these people were opening their bottles on the deck, and so there was bottle caps in the water, and so. But when I saw bottles going out there, I just called immediately.
When the Marine Patrol and the county came that night, do they report to the town? Did something wrong with
Typically, no.
There was no police report.
I don't know if
that
they
went in, but-
report to the police chief, but we don't
Yeah.
see it.
No.
Yeah, would you know that
I
happened?
do know.
Yeah.
Yep,
They-
they did follow up with me the day after. Yep, and I did follow up because that particular incident came through Dennis at Parks and Rec.
Right.
And he called dispatch, and I followed up with the county the following day.
Do you know if they issued any citations that
No.
day?
They were removed from the property, so my understanding is that they came in off the docks, they packed up their stuff, they actually took their bottles with them, and they were moved along. And Dennis actually, in a past selectmen's meeting, made a comment that, he checked the trash and there were no bottles, so that was accurate.
And Dennis is coming in tomorrow, isn't he?
Yeah, I had forwarded all my pictures.
When is he coming in again? That we're doing Parks and Rec budget
Not
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
No.
Not tomorrow.
Well, it's gotta be in the next couple of weeks.
I realize that.
Alright.
There's still, I don't know whose grill it is down there, but it's still down there from the summer, from the concerts. I don't know whose it
Somebody,
is,
yeah.
but it's still there.
Grill.
The grill.
There's a grill that they
yeah.
use at the concerts
Yeah.
when they cook burgers and things like that. Yeah.
I agree with everything that Andy and
Rich.
Rich is saying, thank you. And the thing about going out to the docks is that the water level is so low, you can just walk out there and it's not deep at all. So you just take everything with you without it getting wet and you just walk right out to the docks. So that's just,
Excuse me, we need your name and address, please.
Kathy Rosine,
And where you live?
71 Middle Road, Tuftonboro.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the thing is, once you step into the water, once you get past the high water mark, the state controls.
What is the
Our
high
police
water mark these
officers
days?
can't wade out to the dock.
That was, yeah, that, I mean, the sheriff said that he has,
Yeah.
he wasn't too happy about it, but he said.
No.
to
We
call
hate to
Lee
inconvenience anyone, you know, calling the police, to me, yeah, we're inconveniencing.
Yeah.
But it's only when it becomes egregious that I feel like I need to call somebody, that it's really bothering me. Because there's other people that come and, like I said, they have those can coolers, and I know they're drinking, but I'm not going to call when those folks
Yeah, it's
are
when
there.
it, it's just the point of view of when it becomes obstinate.
Right.
Well, it-
Or just over the top.
Right.
Because one group will come, they come every year now several times, and the music's blasting, and they take over the whole back portion of the gazebo and behind there. And that's the group that was drinking in bottles and things. And so, you know, and it's not every weekend, but
One thing, those people, that particular incident that night, you could plainly see, Marine Patrol came and one of them came down the street walking, and the other one came in a boat, and it was clearly visible to those people. Didn't bother them at all.
It didn't
No one
really
tried to
bother
hide anything, no one tried to scatter. So I agree with you, they gave, I saw them, you know, bringing the bottles in and stuff, so it was just strange that they had no, I mean, if I was doing something wrong and I saw a police come, I'd probably stop. I'd probably stop doing what I was doing. I just sad because it's such a beautiful spot, and it's just becomes, and I said, I'm there all the time. It's uncomfortable at times. And I, like Andy said, I feel just kind of silly calling the police because somebody's doing something like that, but.
well, we're not gonna make any promises here tonight. But we will talk about it. We will get our circle of,
yeah, maybe Dennis
People
could
together and-
recruit, you know, if he's in charge of lifeguards, maybe could recruit. I think that went a long way to, you know, we don't want to put them under the gun, or, but, you know, I think if there was a lifeguard there and they said, excuse me, but there's no smoking, that might help deter that. So we appreciate your time, okay?
Thank you.
yep.
I appreciate it, Lenson. I like you, son.
Yeah.
All right.
Cousin.
Thank you. Have a good night. Police update.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hey.
Take it you all received
Yes.
stuff? Okay. All right, let's see. I attended an online class, legal aspects of interviewing and hiring from Primex. Just a little fill-in for something to do, and that worked out well. Sergeant LaFave and I turned around and went to a class at Sig Sauer Academy called Tactical Patrol Supervisor. What that really entailed was when you get onto a scene of a high risk situation, how you set up perimeter, how you set up command, that kind of thing, which it seems to be happening more and more to us around the area here. So that was great that Sig Sauer put that on, and we were able to get down there. Sergeant LaFave did some online training regarding drone search and rescue. And there was a fishing course, which was part of the Lakes Region computer online classes that he needed to do. So he did that as well. As far as stats go, let's see, we're all pretty much about the same. We turned around and we're a little bit far from accidents last year of 22. This year we've got 17, so that's good to see. Our arrests are down by a few. Our felonies have increased. This time in September we had 17, we're now 19. I did highlight on the felony breakdown, we did have one rape reported, and we had one additional computer crime, which brought our two figures up since last month.
So this is I don't like to see rape involved in our felonies here,
It was somebody that came to the area on vacation, long weekend, that kind of thing, was known to each other, and there was unconsensual acts that took
So
place.
it's not it was,
drag you out of the car.
right.
Right, it's not
it
a
was
serial
known.
rapist to be of concern. It was known between two people. Yep, just unconsensual. Yep. Our incidents or investigations, although they're steady, they are down from the same time last year, and our calls for service are about the same. Let's see. The Benevolent Association received a delivery of the drone that was purchased based on a very, very thoughtful donator of town. We were able to get that done. And then at some point in time, we'll need to kind of figure out having our public meeting for the Benevolent Association to donate that drone to the police department. Drug tape back is going to be this Saturday from 10 to 2 at the landfill. And again, we do that every spring and every fall. And Sergeant LaFave will be up there taking care of that. Halloween trick or treat is going to be October 31st from 5 to 7. Audrey, would you be able to put that on Facebook? I don't know that the time is out there. Yeah, or the website, yeah. 5 to 7 on the 31st. Thank you very much.
Same with drug take back.
Yeah. Same
That
thing.
yeah, that's already on there, I believe, right? Yeah, yep. So, our new officer is going to be joining us November 7th, and November 5th. I've arranged for him to be at the polls, voting, so that we can introduce him to people. That's a great opportunity to do so.
Silly question: is he going to be in uniform?
He is going to be in uniform.
Excellent.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So he'll be ready to roll. And one other thing that I did not put on here is I will be meeting with another certified officer this Friday. The discussion has been is that I will be issuing a conditional offer for that 4th position, and we'll start a background. So fingers crossed, Friday will come and go.
Where is he or she located? Resident? As a resident?
Lives in Wolfboro.
Local.
Yep. Yep. So we won't have any issues with call time or anything like that. Or they'll have to relocate. That's not the case. So, yeah.
Good.
So, couple questions.
Absolutely.
First of all, vis-a-vis the people who were just in,
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's lake monitors to check boats before they're launched, and that's the literature and that kind of thing. I mean, would beach monitors on a voluntary basis be of any value?
Well, some of what they said was a majority of everything they said was accurate. I mean, the reality is that when there were lifeguards on the beach, they would call the police if they saw something that shouldn't be happening. I commend them for calling the police. I did some research all the way back to April 1st. there were only 2 instances reported to us. Both times were the ones that they described. The one that went through Dennis, that Marine Patrol assisted with, and then there was another one where it was Sergeant LaFave that went down to the beach and spoke to people and took care of business that way. You know, without community caretaking aspects and having people report crimes to us, if we're not there, it might be happening. So I'm very thankful that they called on both occasions. But, you know, having a set of eyes that will be willing to call the police, and they can remain anonymous if they so choose. Absolutely.
Well, that's one way. My question is, and you did a marvelously political job of answering it.
Okay.
But I mean, if, you know, half a dozen T-shirts given out with beach monitor on it that walk the beach like these guys, just to point things out and not to point out the rules, but not confront people and then call the police. I mean, I just wonder, Dennis has had no luck at all finding lifeguards, so what are our alternatives? I mean, obviously you're gonna have manpower enough to go down once in a while, but
I'm not crazy about the idea of putting a citizen volunteer in a position of confronting a
it's no different
scofflaw.
than a lifeguard. I mean, you're asking.
I'd be
lifeguard to do
uncomfortable
the same
putting the
thing.
lifeguard in the position of confronting a scofflaw. I mean,
I mean, the other,
she's
the other
she's
part
a
of it that didn't come up
18-year-old
in this-
girl. I mean,
that didn't come up in this discussion. One time I was in a confrontational situation down there, which was not this year, but last year. It was boats coming up and beaching and partying. And I think the solution to that is just to increase the roped off area so that boats can't come up on that beach. You know, that will eliminate that portion of it. But,
and zero tolerance. I mean, if they're caught with a bottle, off, get out, leave.
yeah.
Not you know, dump it out and don't let me catch you doing it again. I mean, out. I don't know.
Well, I mean, nothing like $100 fine. I mean,
That too.
And then we don't wanna spend our time in circuit
With
court.
with the potential of having 4 officers next summer, do you think you'd have the ability to do as they were suggesting, have a couple of drive-bys a day?
Absolutely.
To show.
When we were full staffed here, you know, Chief Shigori had asked for us to be getting out of our cruisers, walk down to the you know, the wharf and back and that kind of thing, and across the beach. Quite frankly, if we're bouncing from call to call or doing investigation follow-ups, those are one of those areas that we can check as best as we can, but maybe not as routinely as we have been, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, because it's not as high on the list of priorities. If you got
Right.
something more important
Right.
to do, you're gonna do it.
Right. But with that being said, being full staffed, I mean, and part of it is that you also are taking into account that, you know, there are a couple evening shifts that a sheriff's office might be handling calls. So you do not have a patrolling unit necessarily, right, to come and check the beach, because that's not really what they're doing for us. They're handling emergency calls.
Right.
So we've done our best to keep our head above water this year, and I do see a big light at the end of the tunnel. And I would say that we most certainly can increase our presence, definitely come next year, being full staffed. You know, that'll take care of that. The lifeguards, you know, they would not confront people, they would call us, or they would call Dennis, and then we would go down. We keep them out of it. Just for the protection aspect of it. So, so you know, as many people as we can get that sees something happening, we can take action. And I think, quite frankly, the action of what the officer does is probably based on their actions of what's happening and how receptive they are. If we address it and we educate them, and then, yep, we totally understand, we won't consume anymore, we'll put the alcohol in the car, then, you know, we would leave, and we could always check back later, you know, that type of thing. If they're being a little bit more
Give you an attitude.
of an attitude or something like that, then maybe we do need to issue a citation with a civil forfeiture attached and address the issue. Yeah. But again, it's not against the law to possess; it's against the law to consume. You know, yeah. So
Okay, moving
Yeah.
on to the next subject to add.
Okay.
Is the sign, the mobile sign that's at the fire station, my understanding, and I'm getting old, so my memory's bad.
Okay.
I thought we bought that for use at the transfer station, used by the police station, used by the fire department. Was that not the case, or is that the case?
That would be an emergency management director question, most likely. What I can tell you is that they did turn around and let us know that that they do have, those signs do have the capabilities to document radar. So we have, instead of just having them stored in the building and not being used, the fire personnel felt, let's get them out there and let's use them. Yeah, so we've been using them as radar as well when they're not for signage type of things.
But just for tracking averages, it doesn't take pictures or anything. It keeps a list of the time and the speed limit, right?
Data of what's passing. Yep, it will. Although whether it has the capability to do pictures or not, we do not do pictures because we cannot do pictures by law. Police cannot.
If someone tampers with the sign, it has the capability of taking a picture of what's in front of it. It has a tamper device on it, as far as it goes, but that device is not used on a regular basis unless something.
It's not used for enforcement.
When someone shot the sign, it took a picture of the taillights that were leaving.
Did it get the plate?
No,
Yeah.
too dark. But, so it has a tamper device attached to it as far as it goes. But they are set up for, as the chief said, they're set up for whatever the police department needs, whatever we do at the transfer station, wherever we need to put a signboard out. And there was like 3 requests at once, this last month, for the signboard, and we only had 1, so we put them out with whatever we could do, first come, first served type thing, and went from there. The other one is back, is repaired. The police department took care of paying for the repairs with that, but they both function.
Okay. Did you get your questions answered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chief.
So what's the time frame on the 4th officer? Just estimate.
Ballpark.
You can give me the leeway of December. How's that? I want them in uniform working for us by the end of the year. But I would try to aim for maybe beginning to mid-December.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my goal.
Good. That sounds good.
Yeah,
All right.
and that's all I have.
And when is your budget coming tomorrow?
I am seeing you folks tomorrow evening, I believe.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's in the afternoon though.
Afternoon.
I think we're only here, 3 to 5 tomorrow? Something like that?
3:15 to
Whenever.
whenever.
Yeah.
We're shooting for
Yeah.
5:15.
To be out?
And we will be swearing in our new officer tomorrow evening, which doesn't take long at all. So we can cut that out of my time, maybe.
All right. Would you like me present?
Whatever works for you.
What
Doesn't
time?
matter.
5 o'clock,
5 o'clock?
part of the meeting, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's part of the. You coordinated this?
It's like, it's not our first day on the job.
All right. You've choreographed this. Got it.
We have. This is a Tuesday where we have the town clerk available to do it because she's on duty, and you guys and myself were already here.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Just coordinate with Audrey about the public hearing for the donation.
The
Will do.
November 18th.
drum.
There we go.
Okay. Got it.
Are we getting a transfer station?
Great.
That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah, the reason I brought up the sign was we got a $2,600 increase on the line item in emergency management. It's all premised around the sign. And I just wanted to be able to defend the fact that the sign's used in multiple departments. It's not just fire, because it's
Okay.
gonna take some heat anyway.
All right, well, they're gonna,
I did
They're-
invite
they're
the
here to
chief
present.
coming earlier since Chris wasn't coming.
yeah, that's fine, and we're ready. We're ready.
We don't have a transfer station?
No, he's still under the weather.
Gonna get a, MRI.
Wow.
Evening, gentlemen.
Chris is, Captain Morgan is following along. He's been working with me this year as far as budget-wise, going through the process, learning the process as far
And you
as
did the-
budget-wise.
Fire department, municipal buildings, this is your work,
As far as this,
the numbers,
as far as the, this is our work as far as it goes.
this 41,940.
Yes, they put in the numbers for
Yes.
the buildings,
Alright.
yeah.
So you should have the fire, you should have emergency management and the government buildings
Yeah.
before you.
I did give them your, monthly update.
Okay. Was there any questions as far as the monthly update? It's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward as far as it goes. We're 214 calls ahead of last year, and 56 permits ahead of last year, so.
I also printed out the, award for FEMA. So that they have that in their packet.
You talking to them about that, or just talking to you?
I-
This one,
Yeah, Chris can tell you anything that
Anything new?
you
on
wanna
this?
know about.
No, that's just part of 6 overall projects that will be getting awarded here, hopefully by the end of the year.
So hopefully in 2024.
We should have a total of 143,366.10 back for FEMA reimbursement.
Okay. Cool.
Didn't FEMA kind of give you kudos for being timely and getting everything
Yeah,
in?
we're one of the only municipalities that has been timely in getting it in, which is good because we get funded before everything in the south.
Before all the money disappears.
Right.
It's tedious work.
Which one do you wanna go through first, chief?
Let's get the biggest one out of the way and
4220.
go from there. So with the different salary lines, the only thing that was put into the salary lines were the COLAs. And as far as my position, there's no steps in that or anything like that. That would be up to the select board that's always been, as far as changes, as far as that goes.
And were there steps for your captains?
There is not.
Okay.
You ask the questions and we'll.
Okay, full-time firefighter?
So we looked at adding a firefighter
Yeah.
from July 1st until obviously December. Obviously going through this process with Captain Morgan as far as hiring someone, we found that we would never get to the point of having them start. And we learned a lot from the process as far as that goes, that the person wouldn't be able to start until at least July by the time that we finished any process. However, as we went through the whole thing with Captain Morgan, we found that we've been using him in more areas as far as, as FEMA and all the different computer world of things, and it's kind of taken over him going out into the field that he originally was hired for. He's still going on calls and things like that, but it's taking up a lot of his time. We had hopefully would like to hire a full-time person to be able to go out and actually do the field work and things like that, and having a fourth person, including myself, be able to change up how we did things on a day-to-day basis as far as scheduling and things like that. And try to work the process out a little bit. We're going through, obviously we've had far more calls this year. We've had all kinds of things that have been going on, and we're handling the different stuff as we go along. But we found that, and it's not necessarily going to help us at night 100% as far as it goes when we are kind of thin on people, but it definitely helps us during the day. And if we have that person that works for us, there's more of a chance of them coming back. They're not going to another job or a second job to be unavailable type of thing. So that's what we looked at. And we also cut back $38,000 as far as on the shift coverage, which pretty much covers the full-time firefighter for that July to December period, where that is saying is $27,086.
So we were budgeting for a call member to work shift 2 days a week. We're finding that our call members have full-time careers and they can't commit to working a daytime shift for us to cover the vacancy. So while we're committed doing other projects, bringing back money for these grants, and can't go out the door being committed to meetings, it puts somebody in to help with preventative maintenance, fire inspections, incident response. By moving some of that money from that shift coverage line to fill that spot instead.
So you're budgeting for essentially 6 months,
Yes,
but this would be a full-time
position.
Rolling
position,
forward.
rolling
Correct.
forward.
Just implementing
The
it.
27,000 doesn't consist of the insurance or retirement or
Mhm.
anything like that.
Yeah, the struggle is gonna be, I might as well be the bearer of bad news, but you've got 105 hours a week in permanent labor here. You've got the 2 captains, you've got, Tranchita and, 2 other ones.
The
Greenwood,
two call captains don't work shift.
They don't work shift.
no, okay, they're getting paid 40 hours, or,
No, they're not.
all right, let's go look at their page. Okay.
So the 2 call captains were averaging 5 hours a week, as well as 2 hours for administrative and 3 hours for training. We train every week. So that 3 hours per week based off of 48 weeks, because we understand that those captains don't make every single training. Some of the trainings are on holidays. So
And the deputy chief falls under
that category
that same
as well.
category.
Are you doing your weekly training on overtime, or are you scheduling that into your normal
So
regular
the
hours?
call captains, it's all hourly pay. The call staff doesn't get
They don't get overtime.
rate. Only the full-time staff.
They get overtime for training?
Just Caleb and myself, the chief's on salary.
Why isn't this being worked into the schedule? That's a weekly thing, right?
Our call staff works a full-time job.
Yeah, as far as, so my captains have to come back as far as.
Don't be offended, I have to,
No.
It's a,
I have to ask.
So,
yeah.
even if you work it into the schedule, I still need them
Mhm.
for day-to-day operations. So I can't necessarily say, hey, take tomorrow off, because I still got inspections to do. We still have all of the day-to-day stuff that someone needs to cover the different shifts. If I'm off, then someone needs to cover my shift. Obviously, they get a day off a week, so someone needs to cover them as far as it goes. That's where the shift coverage comes in, that we've been trying to get, call people to fill that. I think that we had like
Okay,
56% of that.
so maybe it is that the reporting is a little tough to do, because you got Piper at 15 hours, 52 weeks.
Yeah.
So he's working 15 hours a week.
That's calls. He
Yeah,
has
yeah.
15 hours a week that he can put in.
Okay, so he's getting 15 hours a week. You got 2 hours out of Tranchita and 2 hours out of Greenwood. So you got 19 hours, I mean, I came up with 20, but 19 hours plus your 2 captains. I'm working on a time management thing here, because I don't think there's a lot of time management going on. So you got 2 captains working 40 hours a week, and you got an additional 15 hours worth of supervisor, or 20 hours worth of supervisory help. And you can't get it done without,
Their time's really only allocated to incident response. So all those admin hours and reporting hours are during.
you haven't had that many fires. They've been paid $43,704 this year.
And we're up 200 calls over last year.
So how can you say that we haven't had that many calls? Each call averages 2 hours.
Okay. We're looking at the only budget so far to come through here with a 7% increase.
Okay.
And now you wanna add an officer to it.
We don't
I'm
want to
just
add an
gonna-
officer. We want to add a firefighter.
Okay, call it a firefighter, call it an officer, it doesn't matter, it's still money. So you're adding $50,000 to the budget next year for that person.
Okay. So
Okay,
you.
So you've got a 7% gross increase for the year. And another officer, or another person. And we haven't done a lot to mitigate our overtime. I think you just set yourself up with a struggle with the budget committee. I really do.
They told us to try to manage as far as personnel, and we have.
Yeah.
And I think that we've gone over and above
No, you
any. Yes, I think we have. He's brought in $143,000.
Okay, I've just hired a guy for $70,000 to work for me. I need $150,000 in sales, or $200,000 in sales. The $100,000 worth of money he brought in is immaterial. He gets to work every day. What's more material and what you're gonna get from the budget committee is that his payroll is $77,000, but he's on a $92,000 track right now. Justify that.
But they've given us a hard time that we're costing money and not bringing money back. So we're doing what we can
We
to apply
don't
for more grants.
Okay.
Bring money back.
And do what we can to offset our expense.
Yeah, I appreciate all that. I mean, some of that isn't your expense, some of it's the highway department.
Most of it's other departments' expense,
So-
correct?
But it falls on us.
Right, but you're getting paid every day of the week to do work, and so if we compound that with the overtime budget getting tapped and wanting to add another person to your full-time staff, it just starts to become a difficult sale.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you're gonna ask me, or you guys can come in and sell it if you want, but I have to defend the budget that
Mhm.
we approve.
Right. I have
And
no
I'm
problem
having a
with.
hard time defending that combination of events.
So I have a hard time that we have 3 full-time personnel at the transfer station, plus a salaried person, which is me. I'm salary. With the fire department. I have 2 personnel. We cover the town of Tuftonboro 365 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Right,
We have a police department of 4,
right.
but it's actually 2. They don't cover the town 24 hours a day. we may cost a little bit more money, but we're trying to provide 24-hour coverage as far as that there is a Tufton Borough person, a fire officer, or a person that can make decisions at every call, 24 hours a day, 365 days
I mean,
a
I'm
week.
not gonna,
No other department can say that.
I'm not gonna get into adding it up, but there's $250,000 worth of salaries that, if you wanna call it
Mhm.
that, at the transfer station. There's well in excess of 500,000 here in the fire department. It's apples and oranges, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the police officer salary is 251,000.
So you'll note on the shift coverage page, we did reduce what we were asking by 59%, the shift coverage line. So it's a $21,980 savings in the shift coverage that we were looking to reallocate
Okay.
to that firefighter salary. So it's only like a $6,000 difference
Yeah, I know, you wanna.
that we're
move
asking
from
for
one
above and
line-
beyond what was in there. We're trying to fill it with, like we mentioned, with the shift staff that we have
Right.
currently.
What are you gonna do in 25? That's my question. Now this full-time firefighter line is gonna be $55,000
Right.
bucks.
Right.
Plus bennies, you know. So now you're gonna have to take care of that somewhere, but it isn't gonna happen.
Right.
Cause your numbers don't let you do that. So that's, okay, you met him, the guy that's at this end of the table. That's what you're gonna hear.
Mhm.
And
Unfortunately, we have, the biggest amount of people to manage as far as that goes
right,
in any department. In any way that you look at it, you look at the different departments around us. Molten Borough's gone full time with 6 people. Meredith has gone full time, 4 firefighters, 2 officers, full time. That is from these studies that the budget committee wants done. We're not against it whatsoever as far as the study. We didn't shoot it down. It seems like Mr. Roystein is thinking that the fire department didn't want the study. I'm more than welcome to have the study 100%, because I know what the study is going to find as far as that goes. But so we're working
The defense is
with that.
I'm not, I mean, maybe these 2 guys will spend the money, but I'm not ready to write a $30,000 check.
Oh,
Just-
I think it's a waste of money in the long
I'd rather
run.
sit here and argue with you guys and let's read some.
Yeah.
Report.
I think you guys run a superior fire department. I've told you that many times. It's unequivocal. It's a superb fire department. You do a great job of running it. But on the other hand, we have to control the best that we can to control some of these expenses. And
100%.
when you look at a pie chart of Tufton Borough's,
We're there.
you're half the pie.
Right. But we're half the pie as far as doing things also. Anything that falls back on someone, it falls back on us, because we have the personnel, we have the people that will get the job done.
Okay.
I think spending the $30,000 on a study is a waste of money as
Right.
well.
You could hire the person for that.
I think you guys do a great job.
Okay.
However-
So we'll move forward to the next conflict here. So let's say we allow this or accept this $27,086 for a full-time firefighter. Why then are we seeing $12,000, is it 25? It was close to $20,000 worth of increase in overtime.
16,655.
Because right now,
Yeah,
we've taken an average of what the overtime is coming out to be, and adding in 6,000 and change as far as for that new person, because obviously they're going to either, the overtime budget consists of money coming out of there for the people that work on the holidays, and also as far as any overtime that they come back for, whether it's trainings, calls, all the different things. Right now, Captain Pike is averaging 5 hours a week between calls and coming back in, and Captain Morgan's averaging about 6.5 hours.
So that's why I asked the question earlier about training. You do training every week. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think training should be part of your normal schedule.
And that'd be great, but again, kind of go back to the predominant bulk of the staff that comes in for the big incidents are call staff. They work a full-time job outside of us, so their
We're
only
not talking
opportunity to
about
be trained is
Talking about-
evenings.
Is even
Talking
so.
And with the two
Wait, we're not
captains,
talking about, we're talking about the captains.
yes.
Right.
That's
Take,
what- that's
take
what-
Wednesday
I-
afternoon
I-
off,
Hold on.
okay?
But, well, so that's the thing, the two captains are the ones that organize and administer that
Right.
department level training weekly.
Yeah.
So they're kind of required to come back and run those events. The problem is I can't turn around and take tomorrow morning off because there's nobody to fill the shifts because we can't fill them with call members. We've been trying to. And when vehicles have to go out for maintenance, we have scheduled inspections with customers, we have business hours, right? You guys expect that the business hours are upheld. We try to make sure that those shifts are filled. If we don't have a call member to come back in and fill the shift, then I have to come back in tomorrow morning. I can't take 3 hours off tomorrow morning because we had training last night. We tried, but we're only at like 50% for filling shifts. Nobody wants to fill that 3-hour shift in the morning. If they're gonna take one, they wanna take a day shift. So it becomes challenging getting those shifts covered. That's why we're looking to move money from shift coverage to that firefighter's position. If we hire somebody on our own, they're our employee. We don't have to expect them
Yeah,
to
but
go work somewhere else.
but-
And then we can start to titrate covering those openings with our own staff.
you're taking $22,000 out of shift coverage, you say, to help offset this year's expense for this additional firefighter, but you've also increased your overtime by almost $17,000.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're on track right now this year to have $30,000 worth of overtime. So in fact, you've added $11,621 for what? For this person that's coming in part time? I mean, I don't know
We've
where-
added 6,000 and
No,
change
you
for.
added $11,000.
To
No.
which one?
Sorry.
To which line?
Fire department.
Overtime is
Overtime.
16.6 up, yes. Because we're finding that the call staff's not as responsive, we can't rely on them the weekends have been more active, so when the full-time staff is covering the weekend and they go out 4, 5, 6 times a day through the summer, which is how some of our summer weekends were, that overtime is up, we're hitting that line now. We wanted to budget more for last year, but it's just the nature of not having permanent staff that
But
off
what,
duty.
okay, what I'm saying is that all of this savings from, shift coverage is completely eaten up
It
with
is.
overtime.
And until that position's there and we can work out a schedule on how they would rotate through, then we can't.
It's not a matter of working it out, he's full-time, you tell him what he's gonna do.
No, we don't know if we don't have that person as far as shift wise. We're still going to need to have these guys come back as far as overtime.
No,
So-
let's keep it to simple topics here. You want a full-time firefighter, okay, that guy's working for us full-time.
Right.
Okay, we're his boss,
Mhm.
we tell him when he comes to work, that's the deal. And you've eaten up all of the savings from the shift coverage that you've gained by having that firefighter, by increasing your overtime by that much. There's no savings.
I mean, we could decrease a bunch of overtime and hire 2 firefighters, but typically the added cost of the insurance plans, upfitting an additional firefighter and turnout gear, it's
Okay,
over
where's the-
15 grand
Where's
just
the
to do turnout
savings
gear.
where's the savings of having this new firefighter, full-time?
It's gonna work into it. Right now, we can't fill it with call shifts. So the benefit is that we'd be able to fill it because they're our employee,
but
we get to
then-
stipulate when they work. So the benefit
And
is
hopefully it
filling
takes
the
some
shifts.
of their overtime, they're not gonna have to work. They're not gonna have to come back in and transport trucks to Lake Region Fire Apparatus or the different stuff that we can't fill right now.
No, I appreciate all of the logistics of having this person, I'm not completely opposed to it.
Mhm.
The problem I have is that you have too many columns working and it's just gonna start causing an issue.
Our intent is that that full-time person would allow us to create that schedule so that one of us could take the 3 hours off the following morning.
So,
But you have to budget for it, because when we have a fire or a major incident that next morning,
okay,
and we expend the overtime, it's gotta be in the line for us to be able to cover it. Just cause the line has it, doesn't mean we're 100% gonna spend every line,
well,
bit of it.
So, can we walk it back a minute?
I know, you did a pretty good job of spending it so far this year. Your overtime, you're at 99.7%.
Right.
yeah,
And
Because
they've
there's
done
nobody else.
99.7%.
I mean, they're
Of
at
work,
30
as far as-
But like I said, out of 115 open shifts that we've had, we've only been able to fill 62 of them, 54%. So overtime is up because we can't fill those open spots.
So let's take it back 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I realize that you weren't here 5 years ago.
Different capacity, but I was.
Okay.
I've been here 18.
What's different between 5 years ago and now? And I know you've kind of stated it. I want you to kind of put it all into one bundle for me. What's different between 5 years ago and now that's bringing this about?
Expectation. And as far as building, we have far more places, far more people that are here year round now, and they expect the service as far as that someone is going to be able to come to their property, know what they're talking about, and handle their issue, no matter what it is.
Okay, so that's one issue. What else?
The acuity of our sick patients. They take longer to treat,
Okay.
and they're sicker.
Mhm.
Most of them don't want to go to the ER. The ERs are swamped. So
Okay.
they wait until they're significantly sick. And it takes a lot more resources for us to mitigate that when they're that sick.
Changes in insurance law over the years have exacerbated
Made a
that.
huge
Sure,
difference.
sure.
And
Okay.
and equipment, on top of that, equipment maintenance, we're so flooded with incident response, keeping up with fire inspections. The couple of camps that did major construction this summer, integrated an alarm system, sprinkler systems. There aren't other buildings in our community that have those systems. That's a first for us. So when we go to enforce the code, it's not a code that we've been religiously inspecting. We don't know it inside and out. It takes a lot more man hours
To
to
look
research
everything
those
up.
codes and make sure we're enforcing the proper
proper
code in conjunction with a code officer.
Sure.
But we historically go out and inspect your new hot water furnace. We're there for 40 minutes, we come home. We've been back and forth to most of these facilities over a dozen times each, and we still haven't gotten to the point of issuing permits. So that's equipment maintenance that involves with that, and time away from the office and time to look up that code that really starts drawing our work away from what we used to have.
And we still need to have someone to issue the permits. So people are expecting us to be in the office to get their burn permits. Everything is done by computer now. As far as on our side of things, with entering in them. So that's a little bit more time. If it doesn't go in and it rejects it, you gotta find out why.
So we're actually taking more time to do fire permits even though they computerized it? That's-
Yes.
Sounds
Computer
like a
is
government
not,
entity to me. Okay, is there anything else in that list of things?
you name it. Everything that we do, we have to enter into a computer now, is from medical, fire. Once we've done our medical report, we need to go in and enter it into a fire report, which can take an hour by the time that you're done with everything, so that you can report that to the state. It's not as simple as going out and putting out a fire today, and then you go back and take care of the truck and you go home, or you go back to whatever you got to do. Now,
Go ahead.
now it's you go out, you take care of the issue. If you have any issues with the equipment that you have during that, you got to deal with that. You get everything cleaned up, back ready for a run, and then you take care of your paperwork once you get done with your day or whatever. So.
All right, I'm going to reframe the question, and I want you to reframe the answer. So far, you've been trying to sell us on this additional firefighter. What if you didn't get that? What are the ramifications if you did not get that firefighter?
Then
What's 2025 going to look like?
basically you're looking at using the overtime that we put in, you know, as far as probably 100%, and you're going to look at the same type of shift coverage issues as far as that goes, and as
So-
that we've tried to manage everything.
Are we putting lives at risk?
Our emphasis is gonna end up on emergency response and readiness, and less on reimbursement for disasters for other departments that are spending money.
Sure.
So the 140,000 that we just reimbursed
Okay,
would
if
have
we're
been
gonna-
backburnered,
Chris,
and we would have
We're never
focused
going to
more
try
on
to put
incident
lives at
response.
if
risk.
you're gonna go down that road, you know, gun to the head.
No,
No,
I'm
no.
not, I'm not, I'm
That's
just
what
saying
I'm
like,
hearing. If that's the road we're gonna go down, then we'll set your budget, and you can just leave.
We're
apologize,
not
that's
going
not
down the
direction
road for
I'm
that.
I don't
trying,
wanna
but-
hear about, we're not gonna do grants.
I did ask the question.
Well,
Yeah,
already.
he asked the question.
Well, and I'm saying the priority becomes the incident response and readiness, and that stuff takes the back burner.
Okay,
And it just becomes challenging
Okay.
to upkeep with the mandatory reporting.
Sure.
until 2022,
So-
to answer Bob's question, there was no money on the shift coverage line.
Because it came out of
It came out of the.
Overtime didn't have any money on it for the last 10 years until 2023. Okay, and now
because
it's
it was
gone
called
from,
something different.
I'm sorry?
They were different lines.
It actually came out of Caleb's line.
Okay. So I'm watching the salary levels go up, and that's fine, because we give COLAs and steps. I'm watching the firefighters' allowance go from $58,000 in 2019 to $95,000 in '24. And we're adding all of these lines on here, and I'm seeing a significant jump in overtime, and I'm just not buying it. I understand, I can defend the extra firefighter, I can do that, I'll go to the mat for you on that, but I can't do both.
Right.
I just can't, it won't work. I mean,
So in the
if we approve this budget the way you've written it, then shame on us, we're just gonna get our heads
Mhm.
handed to us by the budget committee, and then it's gonna be an argument. And you can't change the budget other than the budget hearing at town meeting, so it isn't gonna work, so whatever they come up with is what they come up with.
So
I would sooner think that we need to impress upon them that we were pretty conscientious about that $75,000 contingency fee, let's bump it to $100,000. And let's bring these numbers down so we take the heat off of these guys.
What-
If they run out of money, then we got money.
what is your thinking as far as overtime wise?
My thinking on overtime is $0 to $30,584 track right now for this year. That you cannot cross 40 grand. I'm saying 35,000. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But that's just me. I mean, you guys can.
So if we implement that new person and use them to offset the time that we would typically have
Right.
come back for overtime
Right.
and work it to be under the 40 grand,
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
can
be
we be
able
happy
to-
with the
Right.
ability to cover the shifts and staffing and be financially responsible with
We're showing you the numbers
Yeah.
that it's tracking as far as that goes. We're not saying that this is set in stone as far as overtime and whatever.
Well,
We're showing you that Captain Pike does approximately 5 hours, and you can say, we'll just take off the next day.
mhm.
It's a little bit hotter than that as far as with our day-to-day operations, because a lot of times I've already got these guys lined up to go take care of whatever for the next day. I would be more than glad to say, hey, see ya. You get the day off, as far as
I prefer
for
not
that.
to work the overtime.
Right. I mean, he would prefer not to be here today, as far as on a Monday that he's off. But I asked him to come in so that he could go through this project process. I don't feel.
It's not gonna get any easier
Right.
over the years.
No.
Yeah, I don't feel that I should be the only one with the fire department that knows the process. Something had happened to me tomorrow, and I want someone or people to know how to fill
Yeah.
my position
Nobody's
as far as
arguing
that
that.
goes.
That's wise. I mean, Nobody's arguing that.
I mean, that's obvious as far as in other areas that I think that the chief should share as much as possible as far as knowing what's going on with the department. And
Okay,
Yep.
just so you know, I mean, and I'm gonna hear it from Hera and Robinson there. The fire department budget, operating budget, not the equipment and all the rest of that stuff, but just the operating budget has doubled since 2015.
mhm.
So you got, 9 years and it's doubled. That's not a sustainable track
Right.
unless you really get hardball with the numbers a little bit here. I mean, I understand that wages go up because people have to eat, but the whole management of the fire department going up that much.
But the other thing is that the fire department's taken a whole different direction and gone from, basically call
Mhm.
to, full time. And that worldwide is where it's headed as far as different things. We happen to be ahead of the game in most cases compared to some other areas. Yes, Molten Borough took the jump all at once and to hire 6 full-time people. The same with Wakefield. Wolfboro has always been full-time. They have 11 that are working as far as shift-wise and stuff. But for
And
a
they
small...
don't have an ambulance crew?
No,
Correct.
that's correct.
How do they justify that?
That's,
It's a current
That-
struggle
yeah.
amongst them.
Well,
Wow.
they go out on the calls just like we do, but they do not have an ambulance that they could transport if they needed to.
Different subject.
Different subject.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
digress.
Thank you.
and this is a little off topic, but what's the number of full-time officer or fire department members, not officers, but firefighters would Tufton need?
To work 24 hours a day, 365?
Or have
8.
have a full-time staff?
8.
Yeah, you're not gonna have 8 people there all day.
Oh, no, not all day.
No, but
That-
you schedule
that's
7 days a week,
that's
3
7
shifts.
days a week, 3
Two
for the
on-
shifts.
2 on duty, 24/7, would take 8,
Cause you got $200,000.
not including supervisors, or like chief, it
Right,
would.
right. No,
Right.
take that off the table. Cause you got $200,000 worth of money you're currently spending on a volunteer fire department.
Just, yeah,
So-
but that doesn't.
Just the volunteers.
Correct.
Right.
Those departments are combination departments, so they have those career staff as well as call staff to support them.
So that they have that, but they have a problem with getting call people to come back.
Call's
so-
not reliable anymore. We are
I mean,
fortunate to
our
have the
people
response we
do
but-
well as far as that goes. But so for example, as far as one of my captains, obviously he had a life-changing incident that took place with family, and he has been around less as far as that goes. He's starting to come back into
Yeah.
things, but you'll notice a month or a couple months that it'll be down. I have one of the captains that used to make a tremendous amount of different things. He got a job with the bosses, and that takes up quite a bit of his time. He still comes out whenever he's available, but he leaves at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he might have to go on trips and things like that.
Right.
So we budget for them, but it doesn't mean that they're going to use up all that money that we budget for them. And it's tough to sit back and go, okay, we're not going to see these people, or we might see them more than expected. But in most cases, we're not going to see these people. But in the long run, a lot of times they're there when we need them as far as it goes. For prime example, today we had a medical call in Center Tuftonboro that I was on. Caleb was taking the mobile generator to Lake Region Fire Apparatus for its maintenance, and we got a call for multiple fire alarms at a roughly 19,000 square foot building on Thomas Point, that when we got there was smoke in the basement and actual smell of something burning. So that leaves whoever's around to get the trucks there. I was in an air pack. One of the gentlemen that came in the truck that didn't have gear with him was able to take over command. And I was able to put a pack on and go down into the basement, and we worked on finding the issue as far that what was causing the smoke and the burning smell. But I think that we're kind of lucky as far as the town wise that some of our people worked for themselves, so they can come out when they're available. But we can't always depend on that they can do that. We started a first alarm on this for neighboring departments, and were able to cancel them once we found, what the actual issue was, what was actually burning in the basement. So,
What happens, let's for the sake of argument, say you had your 8 full-time staff. There's 2 on at any given time, right? What happens in that case when you have one person, working the generator, delivering the generator? What happens with that? Do you rely on those the other full-time who aren't on duty to be called in? Is that how that works?
Mutual aid too.
And
mutual
there's-
aid, yeah.
Depending on how you design your system and your career members, is there a requirement for them to live in town? That becomes the struggle. If you require somebody to live in town, that's hard for people to find residency.
Yeah.
So most
Especially
don't
in our
live in
town.
town. So if you're relying on that callback methodology, there's no necessary guarantee or a time frame that you're gonna get them.
Yeah.
So more than likely, what we're seeing primarily is mutual aid coming into support.
So what you'd end up, mutual aid, or you'd have to have them on some form of on-call.
Yeah.
Which isn't economical.
So
No, but you already do that to a point,
To a
don't you?
point.
You have people on call
Just our officers on
Just our
weekends.
fire officers, and they don't get paid unless they come out.
unless they come out, right?
Okay. So I'm gonna make you a suggestion, and we're gonna meet again tomorrow. So if you wanna take this home and sleep on it.
Okay, I won't be here tomorrow, but
Well, I mean, you can.
I wasn't
you
scheduled to.
guys operate, so use your cell phone.
Yeah.
So if we take the firefighter's allowance, you're currently running at about a $80,000 rate of travel. So if we make that 88,000 instead of 99,000, we take the $42,000 overtime line and make that 35,000. And I don't see the shift, there it is, shift coverage. Shift coverage, you got money sitting there too. I mean, you're working you got 22,000.
Yeah, we left, in shift coverage, we left the 1 hour,
You
or
got,
1
you
day a
got
week.
$26,000 rate of travel right now for 24 in the shift coverage. So, okay, so we've already changed
We've
that.
already taken
Okay.
a significant amount out of that.
All right.
That's
And
really
other
the
one was-
primary funding for the full-time position came
So
from that.
I've saved you $18,000.
You got money in your office assistant line too that is gonna end up being left on the table.
We were going to try to
Yeah.
fill that a little bit more in 2025 as far as, that's why we raised it. We were trying to have someone 14 hours a week versus,
But it was left at 10. So it's left us the same. We discussed it, but we didn't up it.
$5,200. I mean, so that's the first responder.
shift coverage, you wanted to move that to
No.
what price?
15,564. That's your
Okay, shift-
number.
Yeah,
But
you're okay leaving
I
that.
want the fire department overtime down to 35,000
Okay.
from 42. Cause I need to be able to justify that new officer, or I'm gonna call him an officer, whatever. First responders, you're on a $5,200 rate of travel right now for 24.
First responder team is all medical supplies.
That's
Yeah,
equip,
appreciate
that's
that.
That's
supplies.
consumables.
That's
Okay,
stuff we use.
I'm fine with that. Okay, you got a $6,500 or $6,300 budget, and so far you spent $4,300 of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you track that out for the rest of the year, you'll spend $5,200. So can we move that number at all?
Not really, because there's a lot of expiring
Stuff that
medications
we
and
have to
equipment
do.
that's still to
Okay,
be
then
ordered
let's
at the
make
end
it
of the year.
flat. I'll give you 63.56. Or 63.63.
Okay.
There.
You're gonna have to go over these one by one again.
Hopefully somebody's taking those.
He's
You're just level funding the
that.
EMS equipment,
Right.
first responder
Yeah.
team.
Right. I don't know what is on it. I thought that was people, but it's.
Nope, that's
equipment.
all.
No.
Equipment.
That's
No, that's
bag
equipment.
valve, mask,
Because you've
that's
got-
Band-Aids,
So-
that's-
Well, it's called team. The team implies people.
Well, that is the problem. Is that a lot of this stuff had names from the beginning.
Well, and that was
And-
way back in the day, the first responder team who carried the bag and came to your house.
And the equipment.
That's where that money came from. What was in that bag, which is morphed into medical supplies.
Which you
It's just
use
not called
on the
medical
ambulance
supplies,
and
but that's all.
day-to-day
If you look at
basis.
the sheet you have, it's all medical
So,
supplies.
rookie question.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how it works in fire departments.
Sure.
So we have a line item for medical supplies.
Mhm.
How come we don't pass that on to the people that actually consume said medical
We,
supplies?
we can't if we don't transport them.
Ah, okay. That's
And we try to, if there's anything that we can get from the ambulance before they leave, that we can switch out. We, like a nasal cannula, which is the oxygen mask and stuff like that. If we can get those,
I
we
had
do.
this.
But like medications and things like that, if we had to buy them, then we can't take them from an ambulance.
okay.
And a lot of these are expiring devices, right? All medical equipment has a shelf. We
very-
buy it, we put it on the truck to stay ready, and then
Yeah,
it
IV
lives its life
supplies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New equipment.
Yeah.
Right now, your rate of travel is 27,672. If you spend the same amount of money this year as you did this next 2 months that
We-
you spent all year. You've increased that,
So there's a $15,000 outstanding bill on turnout gear
okay,
that's gonna,
yeah.
We didn't,
I'm sure there's reasons.
just
for
just
everything.
for like a lot of those end of the
we
year
didn't
expenses.
increase it, we reduced it to 41.
You reduced it by $411.
Right.
my friend. I
And
know that's a lot of money to me, but to you, $411 is not even.
and you have the information in front of you that tells exactly what we're looking to purchase.
What you
And
wanna buy, right, I got that part of it.
no,
I'm
what
just
what
saying,
is set in
last-
stone or what is not.
Right, last year, you had a similar list to this,
Mhm.
and we budgeted $41,000. So far, and I'm not expecting you to go out tomorrow and spend the rest of it, but so far, you're only on a track to spend 27,000 of that.
But that's not the way it works. You
I'm
can
sorry.
you can sit back and see what we have spent so far,
Yeah.
and we've made sure this year that not everything is at the end of the year for the different stuff as far as it goes.
Yeah.
However, it takes time for the gear and all the different stuff that we're scheduled to get to come in.
Okay.
It's not. It doesn't come in like within a month of when you order it, and you can't pay the bill until you get the bill.
No, I understand the process. I'm just saying, you can look back at where my crazy numbers are. This isn't big enough.
I only referenced specifically the turnout equipment at 15,000, cause you say we're on track to spend 27,
Right.
but we've already spent 23.
Three.
And that one invoice is gonna add 15,000 to that. So that one,
That's 38. Okay,
right,
I got it.
So you said that's for turnout gear?
yeah,
Yes.
it's a 10-year shelf life.
Oh, okay, so somebody's gear is out of date and.
It's,
Yes,
it's
we-
forecasting for a cycle. so that
We
can-
schedule 5 sets a year as far as when people's stuff comes due. You have to outfit new people that come in.
Sure.
So the firefighter that is hired, he's going to need a set of turnout gear, if not 2 sets of turnout gear. That turnout gear is upwards of, by the time that you get everything situated, of $4,500 to $5,000. So that's just one person.
So what's the need for two sets?
Because of the carcinogens that's in them, you've got to be able to decontaminate and wash and have a ready.
And have another set?
And if there's anything damaged to it, it's months for repair. So when
Right.
it goes back to the factory, it goes through a decon process there. They wash it, they stitch it, they test it, then it comes back. So if I only have one set, it gets damaged today.
And you know,
I'm
go.
out for 2 months.
In a
without
perfect
second gear.
world, that's fine. But I'm just gonna reference this 10-year study. From 2019, your new equipment line was 23,996, 26,381, 26,368, 26,870, 33,6, and 23. So if we go to from 33,6 to 41,000, you're adding 25% of what you were buying in 19 in addition. And it just,
The problem
that's
in,
the track you're battling against when you have the budget committee looking at these numbers.
the problem in 19, the requirements weren't there. As far as that you need to get rid of your gear every 10 years. Things change
Well, then
every year.
Okay, I appreciate things change every year. And I'm perfectly happy to leave you at $41,000 and take the $446 off of there. But what you have to be aware of, probably not you, because you're like me, you're old. But Captain Morgan is gonna have to be aware of. If you know you're gonna have a turnout gear purchase, that's a 10-year purchase or a 5-year purchase, start a little bit this year, a little bit next year, a little bit the year after.
But
We're gonna
That's the
spread
way
it
that,
out.
that's what we're already doing.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
Well, maybe you are.
Wait, when
But
you,
it's not reflected in the
We
number. I'm not a firefighter.
24 members, each member has 2 sets of gear.
Okay, then.
5 sets a year over a 10-year interval allows
what
us
you
to
get.
cycle
Okay,
their
and I'm just
replacement.
gonna be Rorisson for 2 seconds here. All those turnout gears, and you're having a problem getting people to come out, let's do an audit of who's on our fire department volunteer force.
but
I mean,
the
that's the added cost, not just the salaries and the shift
Right.
coverage and all the rest of it, but the investment in that
Mhm.
person.
Oh, the investment is very much 100%. But I could have someone on that bottom rung, as far as that's a paramedic,
Mhm.
and they might not come out to every fire or every fire alarm activation and things. But when I need them to come out for you having a heart attack or something along that lines, in using their medical side of the skills or transporting in the
Yeah,
ambulance,
no,
they're there, but I still need to provide them the same equipment as
Right.
everyone
And I
else.
appreciate, you can individually pick out people that you might see 3 times a month. You need to do an assessment of the force. If this is an expense that's gonna be ongoing, that we need to justify that expense. So I mean, personally, I'm not at all interested in buying firefighter gear for somebody that maybe comes out twice a year. It just doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
That's gonna, I mean, that's.
And
gonna
I
be-
think that in most cases we're not doing that. We're working that whole process as far as it goes.
Yeah.
But like someone like myself, I might go through a set of turnout gear in 2 years because
Right.
you're out in it. So I'm not scheduled for like 10 years for a replacement type of thing, but I'm using it up quicker than.
Then do an aging on stuff like that. I mean, it's just that number has gone from 23,000 to 41,000 in 5 years. It needs to have an aging. We need to be able to defend that. If it's unfunded mandates from
Mhm.
Fire Central, then that's what it is.
And you know, obviously this year we lost a certain amount of hose, which got added into the new, over 1,000 feet of different types of hose, which last year that wasn't in the budget.
Right.
We had no hose in that, so.
And that's one of the, not that particular component, but one of the reasons why there's all this talk at the last budget meeting about a significant warrant article for fire equipment. So that we don't have these spikes and penalties and all this other shit going on. That we've got some kind of funding mechanism. The only caveat, and I may not be here to enforce it, but any spending on those would have to come through the board.
Sure.
I mean,
Right.
We're pretty easy about what you spend money on, but.
No, I think that overall, the town, the selectmen, budget committee, everyone has been very good as far as long as you can prove what you're spending is
Yeah.
reasonable as far as that goes,
But it's
as
just-
much as possible.
Yeah, I'm not running a fire department, I've never run a fire department in my life, I don't expect I ever will. So all of the minutia of what you're describing to me,
It means nothing.
well, it does mean something because you're saying it, but it's not as impactful as the numbers that I have to do. 'Cause
Right.
that's my job, so,
And the budget committees.
18. So
Um,
I think we can, just reasonably speaking, we're not gonna vote on this tonight, are we, Mr. Chairman?
If we can get through it, it's probably not a good idea. I think we should, they're obviously gonna have to put a little,
We're gonna be here tomorrow.
yeah, we can, but they're
Do
obviously,
we have all the information that we need?
they're gonna have to do a little bit more work and come back with us.
Would you like to talk about any of the other lines?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there. I've
Yeah.
got,
Okay, I'm sorry.
I got 3 or 4 other questions.
Sure.
I mean, I've got them down under 690.
Your DOT physicals have gone up 55%. You're adding another $1,570. What's up with that?
We have a certain amount of people that are coming due in 2025 that need the DOT physicals that we require. So we have to budget for them. We have that amount of people that are coming up to.
So that's,
Okay.
Yes.
They don't,
That-
they're not a consistent every 2 years. If you're young and healthy, it's 2 years. If you have a funny checkup, they're like, we wanna see you next year. If you have a good checkup next year, we'll see you in 2 years.
Right.
So it's hard to plan for other than when we know it expires. So this year, it's up to 11 from previous
you
years.
happen to know that that's what's.
We
going-
have
we've
the medical
tracked
card, we
the-
know when it expires, and those are the numbers that are due next year.
And we also added a regular firefighter physical into it. Because we
With the
know that,
anticipation of the hire.
Okay.
The other ones are done.
Vehicle maintenance.
Yeah.
That's you've added almost $6,400. Is there a particular problem that's coming up that you're going to address?
one of the trucks, engine 4, needs the tires replaced for 7-year required replacement for that. We're not getting a new truck for obviously a couple years, and that truck needs to have its tires replaced next year.
All right, let's look at it here.
10 tires at $660 a piece. But you can't,
Yeah.
there's no value for resale of the truck if it doesn't.
If it doesn't have the
any
tires on
And
it.
we need them to get through the period anyway.
Yeah.
There's really no way
Okay.
around tires.
We've already talked to different companies that are looking at, that purchase trucks like that or sell them, and one of their requirements is that it has tires on it that meet the yearly requirement already, the standards.
Okay.
Everything else we'll know.
The service cost,
Primary chassis service,
Yeah.
$7,500. What's
so
We-
that's for the 3 engines, the Class A engine pumpers have to have their full checkup. They service the chassis, grease, lube, oil filter.
And we didn't do that last
They
year.
get
We-
it done every year.
This is just broke out better as far as to show you exactly
The price went up.
the
but
prices going up
dealer
and things like
charges.
that.
And $6,000 for state inspection. Or secondary service and state inspection. whatever.
Yes,
Correct.
that's for 3. So basically, if they find anything that is wrong, So like our engine one, it went in for state inspection, and there was roughly over, it was just under $3,000 of different items that were found wrong with the truck. You know, for one, like the main air tank for the air brakes was starting to crack and things like that. That's all stuff that needs to be replaced. It will be replaced and taken care of so that we're not running equipment that has defective things that we know about.
Emergency management operations, you're going from $800 to $3,370.
And that's
So-
why I brought that up with the police chief, because that's the programming or software update or whatever
Right.
it is for the sign.
Mhm.
So that technically is not just a fire department
It's all three.
expense, it's all three. So it
And-
goes
and
to
that's-
police,
Is this so you can,
Remote.
last year you tried to sell us
Right.
the remote software.
And we
again,
found
said
that-
no, and-
We found that without that remote software, it's not good as far as sign wise.
You have to physically take a laptop, plug into the sign, add the sign to try to update it. So if it's a middle of a rainstorm, which happened, we had it up for a road closed, another road had high water on it that we needed to sign. We had to take it back to the station, dry off the connections, plug it in, update it, and then send it back out. Instead of just, oh, hey, you go get the sign, move it here, we'll go on and change the details of it.
Right.
Now it just committed 2 people during the event to tow it back.
So for the whole year 2024, you were cussing us for cutting it out.
Yes.
No.
quantify,
I will say yes, I
This is
was.
bullshit.
rather than apocryphal stories or verbal,
Right.
quantify it. Figure out the hours, the rate of pay, the whole thing, so we can defend that.
Right.
Just bring that in.
And the thing is that if we have it set up that way, and a couple of us learn that process, we can do all of that from different computers as far as it goes, instead of just Chris.
Plugged into our server.
No.
Nope, it's a Verizon cell chip essentially. So we can set it up, for example, this summer, the dedication for the Abenaki Tower. Set the signs up on either side of it. There's gonna be busy traffic this weekend on this day. You can program the sign that day, that time, it changes flagger on the roadway. So it's a
So-
blind intersection for the police chief to try to do traffic.
Is this another cell charge?
Nope, it's
No.
all encompassed in that
And is this
subscription.
an annual fee or is
Yeah.
this
Yes.
a one-time fee?
Yes, it's
Annual
always
for the
been an
2
annual
trailers.
thing.
It
for
came
both.
with the grant when we originally got the grant for the first year. We had to take it over the next year, and we opted
Okay, so-
not to
So that's
at
gonna,
this level. It got cut out.
okay.
We're looking to put it back in because it affects the ability for us to efficiently deploy them and then change them.
But in all fairness, you had a year that you had remote programming.
Mhm.
It worked out great. You wanted it again. We said no. So you've had
It
it.
was, it was horrendous.
We said no.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've had a year without it, and you've had to experience both, and now you can
Yeah.
justify,
Mhm.
because
Why?
you've been through it, why you really need it.
Okay, moving on to generator maintenance.
So you're all set,
Where's
because
our-
it's totally separate as far as fire department and the emergency management is a different
Oh,
budget.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you had no other questions with fire. We moved on, I assume.
I've moved on.
I've moved on.
Okay, very good then.
Okay. Yeah, generator maintenance. Looks like you've got an additional item that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
What's up?
And that is,
So the generator at Mirror Lake got put in from
Yep.
the warrant article last year, so that's a new piece for
okay, so it's-
regular
So that's
Okay, and that
275.
put in by a different company, so
Yep.
the maintenance is up a little bit.
Yeah,
on
so
that.
you get the service twice a year.
The other thing is that the 2 substations,
Mhm.
nothing else runs on propane, so we budgeted $500 for propane to fill the tanks.
And
if
where did you
needed.
put that? Did you put that in your fuel line, or did you put that in?
That's in the emergency management generator line. So
Okay.
you should have this backup information.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
It's all in there 100%.
It's easier if I ask you
Yep.
when you tell
Yeah,
me.
That's
Oh,
fine too.
no,
Across the table.
Yeah,
for,
so
for later on,
For
as
the
far as,
generator maintenance, all of the annual maintenance, preventative maintenance went up across
Yeah.
the board. And then we added the Mirror Lake Fire Station and the fuel at the Mirror Lake in Melbourne, because those are the only two appliances at either location that consume propane.
right.
Okay, hold on.
So they went in for that reason. The rest is just annual maintenance on the generators at all the government building locations.
So the central station went up some as far as major PM, minor PM, and the oil sample went from $60 to $80 for that. The all the generators themselves went up by like $25. The Mirror Lake station is done by a different. It's not done by Thompson Electric. It's done by a different person that normally does Tim Christian's work. We're going to see how that works out, and not put all of our eggs in one
Okay, so
basket as far
is
as
there
it goes.
movement on the hazardous mitigation? Cause that was sitting there, I mean, you've had 4 grants sitting on that line forever, but, generally speaking, you spent nothing in 19, you spent 2,500 in 20, you spent $971 in 21, $5,814 in 22,
So we're on the cycle
2569.
for that hazard mitigation plan update. We just got correspondence a couple
About
weeks
that.
ago about starting that process. It's a grant funded 75%, 25%. So we left it the same, knowing that we're gonna be coming into the cycle of that coming
Whole
to an end.
process.
What's the total cost of that?
It all depends on who does it,
How much,
who gets the.
how
Is
much
this-
work we put in as a town versus how much work we have Lakes Region Planning do on
Do.
our behalf.
Is this $4,000 gonna cover our 25%?
It
It should.
but it's also gonna be split between probably 2 years. It typically takes 2 to 3 years to
Do the
go through the
process.
process, and my understanding, I haven't been through it yet, but is the town pays Lakes Region Planning some of that, and that would be incremented out throughout the process, so that could come out not just in the one final year.
And soon the EOC, as far as the emergency operating plan, will need to be updated also. We did that 100% within town, between our secretary and working with the state. We did that last year, so there was no actual outside cost with that. I'm not sure when that comes up again, if we'll be able to do everything as far as it goes, but if we can, then we will. But hiring outside people obviously costs quite a bit
Well,
more.
in Lakes Region,
But they don't do the emergency operating plans for as far as town wise. They do the hazmat side of
Right.
things.
alright, so I'm seeing a $3,160 increase year to year. Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd make a motion that we approve this budget 4290 for $22,870.
$22,870. Dave?
You can second that.
All right, second for discussion.
What was Audrey want?
I'm wondering if this couldn't be a warrant article, because if this is reflecting only a percentage of it, just like with the culvert grants, we asked the voters it's gonna be, you need a quote, what the full price
Is this for
would be.
the sign thing, is that what you're saying?
No,
No.
the grants and hazardous mitigation plan update? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so if it's a $12,000 grant and the town.
There is no. We don't see the grant side of it. We just have to have a matching. We have to have a certain amount of money there. We don't see the other side of the money. That is
And we don't
issued
really
to
have-
Lakes Region Planning Commission
We don't
directly.
really have the option to opt out. We need a new plan, so I don't think it belongs on the warrant, personally, but.
A motion's been made and seconded for 4290 emergency management for the amount of $22,870. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I,
Ayes have it.
and I'd like to restate, you guys took copious notes on my yelling and screaming?
And that,
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to restate my position that we can vote on this tomorrow, the fire department.
Yeah, that's fine with
So-
me. Would you be able to come back tomorrow with clean sheets?
yeah,
What do you
And
What do you need? I mean, he can enter it in the computer right now.
well,
Do
He
you
has
guys,
it.
do you guys want to digest these changes for 24 hours?
I won't be here tomorrow.
so their request is their request, and then you put in what the BOS approved.
Right.
Right,
So you don't necessarily go back and change their
yeah, but I don't
request.
want you changing your
No.
numbers.
Okay.
Right.
Cause
Yeah, and
I wish you established those numbers, that's
Yeah.
fine.
I think we could work with,
Right,
I think so.
within those confines of your
They
recommendations.
can please repeat the changes.
Yeah, please.
okay. I'm
Line by line, please.
changing firefighters allowance
Firefighters allowance.
to
88.
$88,000. I'm changing first responder team to flat funding $6,363. Fire department shift coverage, we're at 15,564, so we're leaving that alone, right?
Yes.
And then fire department overtime is $35,000. And I think that was all of the changes that I thought should be made.
And that gives us a new total of,
I was at 690 something thousand. I don't know,
I
does
can tell you.
Chris is gonna tell us,
This is gonna tell us.
well,
Captain Morgan, as I'd rather say.
we need to have it for a motion.
Well, we're not gonna vote on it, are we?
He's
Or are
doing
we
it
gonna
right
vote?
No,
Right.
if they're okay with it, I don't see any reason why not.
Fine.
Do you?
No, I just wanted everybody to be clear what.
If everybody's digested it and they're happy with it, well, they may not be happy, but they're accepting it.
It's all things that.
Oh, my total?
Yes.
661, 404.
Say it again,
661, 404.
Really?
that's in
I don't think so. Okay.
Is that with changing the?
11,200 plus 7,000 is 18,200.
You only got only 23.5.
Maybe. We left in the full-time firefighter. I don't know if you took that out.
No, that was a mistype. Let's try that again. How about 692, 904?
Oh, pretty close. I had 693.
692, 904. That's what I've got.
Oh, you guys beat me. 692, 904. I won't put the numbers where we want 'em.
Then I would entertain a motion.
So I'll make a motion that we approve fire budget 4220 for $692,904.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for $692,904. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. The ayes have it.
So fire-wise, do you
So
need
Now you got a 4% increase, and that's perfect. of a month.
Do you need someone here tomorrow night for
No.
No.
anything? Do you have time to address the ambulance?
Yeah, I think the ambulance is.
Well, that's,
It's
that's
three-
contractual,
It's,
right?
it's 3%
Yeah,
capped, the increase. And again, Stewart's has their base in Melvin Village now.
How's that working out?
It's working out good. They're coming out fairly quick. We have noticed as far as, like the captain had said, as far as some of the calls are more serious now. It's taking more personnel to get people out of houses and things like that because people are waiting so long. You know, they're really sick. If they're of any size difference or whatever, it may take a few more people. Sometimes at night, that's kind of really tough if you only have one person that comes out on our side or whatever. But overall, they're getting out quickly. They're beating some of our members into the different calls and stuff.
Your paramedic, EMT people have the same uniform requirements as a fire department personnel.
What do you mean as far as?
Turnout gear.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, because they're firefighters.
Okay, so they're firefighters as well.
Yes.
as being- Okay.
Those are all cross-chain.
With an additional full-time person, would that have any bearing or change the number of people that are, what do you call them?
Call staff.
Call
Call
staff, thank
staff.
you.
We have a lot of call staff that's within 5 years of retirement if they're not already there. That's
Okay.
part of the reason my position became available, was somebody that was consistently working 2 and 3 days a week to fill the call shifts. Had retired from a fire service career and is now retiring from his call service career.
Right.
So we're dwindling in our numbers of.
Does that reduce the cost? I would assume it reduces that cost. It also maybe changes the cycle for the turnout gear a little bit.
Well, you're always, you know, as far as getting call staff, you're always trying to get call staff in because of you want a certain amount of them as far as to back up as far as even the full-time people. If a department is working well as far as working the call staff in and for them to come out, a lot of times in cases you'll see departments when they go full-time, the call staff dwindles off and they phase out as far as that goes. But I feel that the call staff is very important to supplement as far as to keep things running. You can have whatever amount of full-time people.
I think it's as important as town meeting. You know,
Yeah.
participating in the community, doing the service. I think
But unfortunately, in today's day and age,
It costs them a lot of time away from their families just to get qualified and certified to do it. And then coming out to do it
Right.
is more time away from their
Right.
families. And everyone values that time at home. And they work a
But-
career and then don't wanna come out at night or all weekend when they have that time. And that's the struggle we're getting with call staff is we're trying to up the pay to be competitive with local departments call-wise. But it's challenging. You look for it and we budget for it, but we don't always get that
Well,
turnout
it's
from
not
them.
always about the money.
And no,
right?
and
You know,
that's just it,
there are
and
some
that's
people
why-
that the money is not what they're looking for. You know, as long as they have a dependable department that they're
Place to get a
nationwide,
working
it's
with.
slowly going
Right.
from it was volunteer and now it's paid part-time, and their departments across the country are changing their model to be more of a combination department where the majority of their incident response is handled by that full-time staff. And the call guys are great to supplement the bigger incidents.
Right.
Today was a great example of them coming in and helping be able to support that. But we just don't know when it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
And you need to utilize that device. And starting now, if you haven't already done, to figure out where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
you know, cause it doesn't, it appears as though you're gonna have more medical calls than anything else. So how much more?
But the fire hazard doesn't go away.
I
Right.
don't know, but how
It
much
becomes challenging.
more investment do we make on people in that
Right.
arena? as opposed to firefighter.
Right.
But when they're cross certified, then they are obviously doing both.
Right.
And you know, I think that
And maybe I apologize for interrupting.
no
I have to
problem.
Say something when I see it, 'cause
Yeah.
I'll forget. But maybe in your mutual aid system, you should, you must meet at some point in time.
Mm.
Just sit down and have a chat, say, okay, we all have the same issue. Is it easier for you, Ossipee, or you, Moultonborough, or you, Wolfboro, not Wolfboro, but to get volunteer firefighters? Is it easier for you to get medical EMTs and paramedics? So you're combining your assets. In other words, if it's hard to get firefighters here, maybe it's easier.
Can you do it
for us to
regionally?
No,
Yeah.
I found as far as being the chairman of the mutual aid, we're not on an island.
Yeah,
Everywhere else is seeing the same.
right.
Regionalization of the ambulance service and stuff like that doesn't work in our county like it does in the Californias or
Yeah, no,
different
I'm
stuff.
not talking about regionalization of it, I'm just saying, if you're
We're all
gonna want
struggling with
you're
staffing.
gonna want a second ambulance someday.
Yeah.
And we need to justify it, so just keep
Right.
that in the back of your head.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's work. You know, the whole ambulance thing has worked out for us having
Right.
the ambulance that we go out with. I would have never told you back in 2019 or whenever that it was going to work as well as it is, but it does.
Yeah.
I would have been very skeptical about it, but it's worked out very well. We have found that obviously as far as when this ambulance goes down, good example, the ambulance got left unplugged and there is something that draws in the unit as far as that it knocks the batteries out. Ambulance stays, we go out in the rescue, someone comes back and takes care of that and out you go. But having one unit, if it breaks down for any reason, you're out of it, you know, as far as it goes. You don't have that capabilities anymore.
So last year you had a big concern about the rental arrangements for our contract ambulance. Now that they're down in Melvin Village, do you foresee any problems continuing that relationship?
They have worked over and above as far as to the whole contract as far as it goes. If they have an ambulance that's available, you know, over and above as far as what they contract us for, they will provide it. I think that you would see that in Wolfboro. They're contracted for one ambulance versus two, and they're providing whatever they have available as far as that goes to cover.
Do you see any
the different
reason
towns.
to start thinking in the future about having our own full-time ambulance service, having a couple ambulances?
I think it's-
Or do you want? Or are we going to stay on this?
I think this model works for us right now.
Right.
I think finding the staff to turn around and
Is the
hire
tough thing.
Right.
to work around the clock.
And you're not hiring EMTs.
No, we'd have to be hiring paramedics and advanced EMTs, and the problem is, you have two guys working, they go out in the ambulance, you no longer have a contract. We just had one recently, cardiac arrest or a STEMI, a heart attack, they have to go to Portsmouth. That duty crew is now in Portsmouth for the next 4 hours.
So Stewart's
gone for
going all
3
the way
hours.
from here to Portsmouth.
Yes.
So when we have this call, and right now we have a contracted service, so Stewart's takes that patient, they go out of town, we're still able to provide coverage to ourselves with our ambulance if that additional
If that
medical
happened.
came in.
Right.
Or fire, accident, anything else, our coverage stays here. So until you get to the point where you have a significant call company that can cover that callback, or that many off-duty or on-duty staff to be able to come back and cover it,
Yeah, still
it's
you
not
should that.
financially sound to
I
make
think
that
that's-
jump to covering our own. Right now, this model for that price works very well for us.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve ambulance budget 4215 for $223,365.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for the amount of, repeat that again, please, 223, 365?
365.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it.
And as far as when it comes to government buildings, I'm assuming that at some point in time, when you get to that section, you'll have us come back in and,
Yeah, it's pretty much level funded with the exception of the fire station maintenance is up by $750.
and everything is pretty much listed out.
Are you confident with your heat?
So far, yes. And you'll,
Our meeting, what?
as far as, you know, if for some reason we have a major change in how much we're paying, then obviously we'd have to face that down the line. But the only, if you look back at what we spent so far this year as far as fire station electric, which is the Melvin Mirror Lake station,
Yeah.
there was a couple times that the central station was taken out of that, and we caught it, and it was taken back out of that. It can't, that line cannot sustain electric bill from the central station. The central station in 1 month is
Right.
almost
Yeah.
the whole budget for
Pulled
that.
from the wrong line, but it was put back.
So it's square.
So if you see, you know, you're looking at the sheets that we get, you know, once a month,
General ledger report.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna,
Any reason why we don't wanna approve this tonight?
because the 4194 is more extensive than this.
It's all the
Okay.
town
It's all
buildings,
the
right?
town buildings. We haven't heard from Jack, he's getting a price on the roofing up at the town.
Okay.
house.
And lights outside of this building.
Do you have any questions for us on what we proposed for our
For that?
portion of that?
So we're increasing Dolly by $1 per hour, did you build that in?
We didn't know that.
Yeah, we just,
It's $1 an hour more.
Yeah,
so
we can-
figure it out.
We can figure it out.
okay, so we're gonna update that one.
That's not a problem.
Okay, and you're,
Where was I for that discussion?
you weren't there?
Apparently not.
Oh. Her union came in and demanded that she wasn't gonna clean anymore.
I would have given her more than $1, but that's all right.
That's 3% though, $1, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I think we're getting a bargain as it is.
And
Yeah.
Mm,
improvements.
My daughter does the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maintenance went up. Why did maintenance go up?
For which one?
Which one?
Fire station. That's kinda all encompassing.
Up about
It's the
almost
two
5,000.
substations. Fire station maintenance would be both substations.
Okay,
Alarm monitoring
Why not?
and the vehicle exhaust removal systems, the filter costs went up for both.
okay.
And these are annual expenses?
Yes.
Who do you use for alarm monitoring?
Nights.
Night security. On all 3 stations. And as far as,
Is that the commercial version of
Same.
ADT?
It's the local company
No,
that
local.
does the building
I
here.
use them at the county too.
yeah.
No,
So-
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
Kind
it's
of
essentially
smaller
the
scale.
commercial
Yeah, non-franchised.
version of ADT.
So like 2 o'clock
residential.
in the morning, Todd,
You know where to
You
find
know.
them.
Yeah.
If you need to.
we call them my cell phone and,
Yeah.
and they're out here, so.
Yep. Yep, Todd's always taking care of us,
Yep.
always.
Okay,
We made,
so we'll make the adjustment to the station cleaning. Anything else?
I don't know, I think we need to put the mowing out to bid again. But
That's not,
That's another discussion.
yeah, that's
It's
not,
in our budget,
It
but
is,
it's
but-
not.
yeah,
I
different.
mean, we can budget this and then put it out for bid.
Right.
If you let us know.
It just seems like we're getting tapped a little hard, I don't know. Maybe it's tough mowing lawns these days, I don't know. I don't do it, so,
I'm good for tonight.
yeah, I think we're good. We're all
Thank you.
friends, everything's
Friends.
cool.
We're all good.
It takes more to hurt my feelings than that.
Alright,
We just,
We work in firehouse.
yeah,
yeah, right.
we just wanna, we know obviously that when it comes to I believe that we're on for the 29th for the budget committee.
Yeah.
Yeah, week from.
If we're not facing issues with you, we're obviously gonna
Right, I
face
think
further
That's gonna be a
issues
tough
with
night.
that.
I think that we have obviated, if I can use that word, all of them, with the exception of the ongoing expense of a firefighter full-time.
Mhm.
And that's just, I think that's gonna drive you,
You're gonna have to work that hard.
Mhm.
right? And I think you can make it work if you manage your time well.
Right, but the issue that we ran into with the budget committee and Mr. Roystein, as far as it goes, they wanted us to do away with the bottom part of our call members, which, you know, if you look and they happen to be in the red zone, as far as what calls they may have made some, or they definitely, some of them made calls that they made a difference. So me cutting them out because they don't make everything, or they can't make everything,
Well, I think-
is a tough thing.
But I think it's, you know, you're pulling information out of experiences in your head. What happened this last month? What makes a difference to him and the budget committee members is,
the bottom line.
no, it's the
Compensate.
structure. You know, have you actually reviewed all of these fire call members? Are you confident that your investment in them is a sound investment?
Mhm.
That's what they're looking for, and I don't think there is confidence that they got that from you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're gonna talk about an independent study again. That subject's gonna
And
come
they're
up.
not gonna
It-
get-
it-
Okay, if they can come up with 30 grand somewhere, they can have that, but they don't get to make that decision.
No, I realize that, but they're gonna talk about it and they're gonna push it. And, you know, well, I could support it, but I think it would be a waste of money. Plain and simple.
In
That's
the
why I'm sorry.
no, I think that in the long run, that $30,000 could be put in to support what it's
Better
going to
used.
show.
Absolutely.
You know, as far as that
There are
goes.
lines in this 10-year study that I've got Audrey to put together for me. And you can look at those, and if you wanna rest your horse on those half a dozen lines, you can make the argument that this is the most inefficient fire department in the world. You can do it. But if you look at the whole picture, which I have a tendency to do, and that's why I ground them a little bit on some of their overall budget should stay within a margin of error that's similar to the town itself. So we're now at 4.5% increase in the fire budget. That's a reasonable increase. We've got a 3.3% wage increase, and we've got equipment costs go up. I mean, nothing stays the same.
Agreed. And I'll give you credit. You crunched those numbers and you came up with a reduction from 7% down to about 4%. Good job.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that's.
But I
But I think it's fair as well. I think I have yet to have sat here for years, but I have yet to have you guys come by and say, we're out of money. I haven't heard that from you guys.
well, the other thing is inefficient as we are, as far as we try to stay within
Right.
the different budgets and still do 100% as far as for the town. If there's a more efficient department out there, show me how they operate
And show me,
cheaper,
yeah, and give me the $30,000 to find out how they do it.
right?
And there's no more transparent budget than what you guys
Right.
present.
It's all in front of you. We're not hiding anything. We're
Never
showing
said-
you the bottom
never-
line.
Never said you were. Yeah, and one thing, perhaps I hurried this along by approving this budget tonight. We didn't talk about step increases. We didn't include that. We may need to readdress this at some point.
Okay, let's let Audrey do, you can always come back, and we're not gonna
Yeah.
give this to the budget committee until we're ready to give it to them.
Right.
So can we direct you to do a step on the 3
Let's see what it looks like.
principles and see what it looks like? I wanna stay under 700,000, I don't care, maybe somebody gets a half a step. I don't-
So usually our different stuff is off of reviews. you reviewing me, I review my people as far as that goes.
Have
We-
you done your reviews?
I haven't seen a review for me
Have
in
you done
several
your- that
years.
was in the
I haven't
question.
been asked for a review.
You should run for Senate. You're so good at that. Have you done your reviews?
I haven't been asked to do a review because I was told
Your
that
employees?
everything was off of the 3% increase, so nothing was done beyond that.
Oh, no, that's not, I don't know who told you that.
Well, that's the way it's been in the past.
Needed for a step, and he wasn't asking for the step.
I
Right.
should do a
I
review
didn't
every
ask for a
year.
step. I didn't ask for a step for anyone else.
And so do we need to do that exercise of a step? Is that?
That's totally up to you.
Okay, I'll
We,
look at
if we're asking for it, we need to,
Okay, well, yeah. let's
Well, but
have
isn't there
fun.
ramification that we could very well bump that 4% to
7%.
7?
Yeah.
No. Cause 7 would put us back to.
So
where
what
they
you're
should
saying
be.
is they can get a step upgrade, but they've got to hand over X amount of dollars for equipment or
Right.
whatever, is what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
And
I'm saying.
I'm translating.
yes,
I'm not even insinuating that. I'm asking Audrey to come up with what would a step cost us.
Okay.
That's all I want, and then we can talk about that. All
It-
that other stuff.
and I don't want you to think that we're pushing for that. We
You
turn
may
the
never
budget
hear
in.
From us again.
Okay,
Okay.
very good. Would you like the
Okay.
reviews completed?
Chief, you should do a review every year.
No, I
no
think
matter
that
what.
if,
Okay.
if for no other reason internally, you should have reviews.
Yeah.
Because another item for questioning efficiencies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
if you have to terminate someone,
Yeah,
then
it's
that's
more
not
than that. It's
reviews.
also,
Yeah, it's like running a
I mean,
company.
fortunately, it sounds like you're blessed with pretty good group,
People,
but
that could
but
be
that's not
something.
always the case.
right.
Yeah,
and
don't
you
know-
need defensibility when
Yep.
it comes to hiring and firing. You know that.
Right.
The last thing you want, I'm not gonna give them any suggestions, is to be surprised by a captain who says to you, hey, I just got offered this great job somewhere else, so I'll see you in 2 weeks, or 2 weeks I'm out of here.
Well, that could happen any week.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but if you haven't gone through the process of
Right.
review and all the rest of it,
Yes.
you can't sit there and say, well, you know, I reviewed you, you did this, and whatever. And it was a selectman who didn't give you any money.
Right.
That could be true for a fire chief too.
Mhm.
That could be true for the chief too.
Yeah, it could be true for all of us,
You're right.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for your time tonight
Thank you.
and working through that.
Nice job putting this together. Again.
Yeah, I didn't get a step this year, by the way.
Wow, we'll get the review completed. And
Yeah,
Selectmen get flatlined again.
yeah, I don't think I want to review, I'll pass on the step.
hopefully, as far as this year, things were a little bit easier to read as far as all on the same scale. I know that years in past, things have been a little bit different as far as the
It's
whole
45
computer wise.
pages. It's a little cumbersome, but.
It's all stuff that we do.
I, in fact, it forced me into a position of buying one of those printers that doesn't take cartridges if you fill it up. And I just couldn't do it.
Right.
There's a summary sheet with it for you.
Yes.
You don't need all the pages, the summary sheet told you.
No, they like the detail.
We still have minutes.
Yeah.
All set with us.
All right.
Yeah.
Next item.
So-
Moving on. Thanks,
no-
guys. Have a good night.
Thank
No
you for coming.
tomorrow.
No tomorrow.
No tomorrow.
Okay.
Get on past them.
No worries.
There's no tomorrow.
You have minutes?
Thank you.
Minutes and I don't have I don't have a consent calendar here.
There's no consent in.
There's nothing to
Nope.
consent.
Good night.
No consent calendar tonight.
No, there was nothing.
Okay.
The one thing I didn't get to read electronically was this.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not your fault. You provided it. I just didn't get a chance to reading it. Bob, we just talked about the call to order being at 4:31. Running late.
Well,
I'll move to accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Wow, you guys are amazing.
Any further discussion?
Really important.
I'm feeling like pressured. Oh, where did we end up with the propane vendor? Oh, that's right.
And this is today's 10/17. Are we gonna have a new one of those, current year expenditures? Next Monday?
By the 29th,
Yes,
which is 2 weeks from now.
I can have it Friday, so when you come in for signature, because
All right,
we'll have you.
Good?
I'm good.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Action items. There's no action items either.
So we'll be printing out the new budget for the fire department?
Yeah,
Okay.
they get copies of all the selectmen's
So I don't
positions.
put anything in my notebook. There.
Correspondence. We have a notice from Mitchell Municipal Group
Yeah.
that our definition of a butter, MRSA 672:3, has been amended to read. Do you
So
want,
that
do
needs to go to the planning board.
you want
Yeah,
me
it'll go to planning and zoning, but legal sent it over to the selectmen, so.
Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing out, if anybody wants to read it.
I've read
we
it.
have Board of Adjustment has scheduled a hearing Wednesday, October 23rd. North Country Village,
They're working on the sale, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we took that thing for taxes, didn't we?
No.
Did we not?
no,
Sent them a certified letter after the tax collector came in, and this is the response to the
this is the
certified letter.
response to that,
But it sounds like action is happening as a
It's happening,
result.
yes. It sounds like it's going forward to sale,
Right.
which, what does that mean for us? That we can recover it from,
They'll pay the taxes,
They'll pay the
back
taxes.
taxes.
who will pay?
We're second in line. Whoever
The
buys it,
purchaser.
Mirror Lake Protective Association
they'll be lucky to get 22.
thanking us for our donation.
Did we donate to them?
That the one from the beginning of the meeting?
Really?
On behalf of the Mirror Lake Protective Association, I thank you for your contribution of $100. Your membership and generous donation are instrumental in helping us achieve our mission of preserving and protecting the natural beauty and ecological health of Mirror Lake, and so on. A letter and a response to Melissa Chaput. Did I say that correctly? Again, it's in here if you're interested in reading it. Standard dredge and fill wetlands permit application. And monthly natural lake, seasonal lakeside magazine. Newsletter. Town administrator and selectmen's updates. Town administrator.
I have a suggested review of budgets.
Schedule.
Yeah. Oh, here's a copy for you, Ashley. So I have sent it to Rob for his review for the budget committee because I think it's really not feasible to do highways and fire in the same week. But
The three big ones should have their own night.
I think so. Well, there's four big ones in my
Four big
opinion.
ones, okay.
But I think roads, fire, police, and transfer station.
So we've gotten all the first white ones out, the
Correct.
assessing legal, and
Yep.
this is all done.
Yep, and you got the first three yellow ones.
Yep,
I have the next three ready. We can do them tonight or tomorrow.
executive general government and health agencies.
Hmm.
Okay.
So we can do tonight or tomorrow on those. I have an agenda for tomorrow to see if you think that might help you make your decision.
Highway, cemetery, police.
I
So
said,
you're looking for us to do executive general government and health agencies
Right.
tonight?
or
And,
tomorrow. Tomorrow's fine.
Do you have them with you?
I do.
So 3:15 it starts, 3:30 their appointments.
Yeah, so it wouldn't take me long to fit in between them, is what I'm saying.
But we should be out of here by 5:30, is that what the plan is?
Yeah,
Do you have those budgets with you?
I do.
Thanks. One of each is all I need.
I realize that. So, you want me to just start speaking? On the executive, last time we met and discussed it, we had questions about the administrative secretary line. I did a personnel review, and this new number reflects a step increase based on performance. And those are the changes there. And the clerical assistant, I have moved her up, and there's a backup sheet with the highlighted number.
That's went up $6,000.
Yes, because I'm using her more. You can see that it's going over this year, and so basically I have her in 1 day a week next year. And the justification for the salary amount is that she's been trained on MuniSmart. She can step in and do accounts payable and payroll if we need it. If for any reason Cammy or I were out, she's been doing the check and balance on that. She's doing the minutes, pursuing the budget. She has another separate line item for budget in a different section, but I've been teaching Ashley the budget and doing the schedule and the spreadsheet, so she's
So you did give her a step.
2 actually.
2 steps. You were saying no steps, now it would have been 2 steps?
So I moved administrative secretary to 1 step, and
Right,
the clerical assistant is a 2-step.
so it's just Ashley that got more money. Is she getting more an hour or more hours?
Yes, both.
Both.
Both? Okay.
Mhm.
And administrative overtime, I don't have my budget from there.
Well, administrative overtime is over.
No, I don't think that one is.
Yeah, you can pull that one out this year. We're good. But we will. I mean, we'll.
We spent $172.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's the very first section.
First page, like very top.
Oh, yeah, I looked right over it. Oh, it's the clerical assistant that was over, I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah. And I did bring that to your attention in an earlier meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and was basically told,
Yeah, we understand
Do
why.
it. Okay.
We've gone up $12,550. Right?
And that accounts for.
What does that count for percentage wise? It's gonna be. Let's see, 13. It's gonna be like 8% anyway.
last year I gave the selectmen a raise, and I got yelled at, so you didn't get
8%.
one.
Oh, I did that.
Pretty good.
Nice.
You gave us a raise?
No,
I did last year, and you took it out, so I didn't give you one this year.
That's 'cause Rob won the lottery, he doesn't need any more.
I wish.
So,
If the townspeople want to do a warrant article and give us a raise, I'll accept it. but I am not signing on to giving myself a raise. No way in hell.
I'm not sure it's gonna affect anybody but you, Bob.
Uh,
Okay, so that's flat, selectmen's flat. Town administrator's just the 3.3%.
Nope, look at the backup sheet, I put myself in for a raise, I also,
What did you get for the raise?
a step, I mean, I did one step and 3.3%.
You didn't give yourself a step last year, did you?
Well, why are we
Last year
going-
was very different.
Okay. What am I seeing here? So the second number in each of these, let's take you, for example.
Okay, so I'm
That's
going from
3.3.
21.7.
Yeah,
Okay, the second line would just be the 3.3 and the step would be the 82,737.
so we went at plus 2%.
Right.
We went plus 2% on Cammy. And then the clerical assistant is gonna work
So she's in that,
7 hours a week.
yep, 1 day a week.
Sorry, if I missed it, you have weekly, annual hours, 2 columns, 35 and 37.
I was thinking of increasing the number of hours to 37. I was gonna give you that
So that's
option, but
full-time.
frankly, I'm pretty happy at 35.
Okay.
But sometimes I push the envelope. I could work 40. I could. But I'd rather let Ashley do more.
We only want you to work a half a day.
I would like that too for the same money.
The first half or the second half, doesn't matter which.
Oh, there was first half and second half.
Yeah, it's 12 hours and a half a
Okay,
day,
so
right?
the primary driver, on this- the primary driver on this 8% increases are from Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay. And what jobs is she getting that she doesn't currently have?
She was only doing minutes,
Okay.
and now she's trained in MuniSmart to do payroll
Okay,
and accounts payable.
AP. And any hope for grant writing?
I don't know, have you done grant writing?
Have you done grant writing?
Not today.
Not today, but some other day, have you done it?
No.
I've done grant review.
So maybe we should, make, I don't know how many hours you needed for that payroll and AP.
Well, the 7 hours encompasses different things. For example, she did all the personnel files for me, and I want her to go through all of the general assistance files because those need to be culled out, and all of the contracts.
Okay, so she has things to do, but if there's a lull in the action, maybe she can sit down with Captain Morgan and kind of work her way into that deal.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, that we don't have.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, I'm not 100% sure why Captain Morgan is doing that
It's,
when it only
are we
is.
on television?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I'll answer that tomorrow when we're not on television. How about that?
Tomorrow's still a public session. Any number of people could be here and any person could bring a
But-
camera
but
and
David-
record us and put it on
David's gonna
YouTube.
come in 5 minutes early so I can tell him.
So please don't shy away from the camera.
No, but I think we're missing out on some grant situations that we might be able to get involved in. And also some budget, I mean, we're gonna do cemeteries one of these days.
Yes.
And that's gonna require some
Mhm.
work on the part of Ashley.
And I'm hoping that conversation comes up a little tomorrow with the cemetery presentation.
Right,
So, in that case, I might move some of her funding to somewhere else, but there's lots of places she could be used.
right.
Chief Hathcock is using her some.
Good.
I'm ready
Yeah.
to move on this budget if you're ready.
Sure.
Okay, I wanna ask for approval of executive 4130 at $168,118.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded for 4130 executive for $168,118. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it.
So what else do we have to do tonight?
General government is super quick, I believe, both the, joint loss committee and
Yeah.
the capital improvement said they would keep their budgets flat.
So I'll make a motion that we approve general government $41.99 for $500.
I'll second.
Actually, I do have copies for your binder.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And health agencies, you have?
And the health agencies, the reason that ending 68 hours is highlighted is because I didn't have their justification until just today. And one of them went down and I think everyone else stayed flat. And I have all of their letters if you want to read them at any time. And they're all willing to come in too if you want to talk to them.
They all stayed the same.
Well, all except for 68 hours of hunger. And what's their justification for asking for an additional $1,000?
No, it's the same.
That one's the same.
It's just a.
The one above it.
Oh, I see.
The one above
Sorry.
it went down
Wrong line.
1,000.
Wrong line.
Yeah.
So this budget went down $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
No,
The Children's Center, Wolfboro.
right.
Why is that highlighted?
Because I didn't have their written justification until today. So,
Okay,
That would have
Gotcha.
not been had it.
yeah.
gotcha.
So I'll make a motion that we approve health agencies 4415 for $40,241.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded for 4415 health agencies, $40,241. Any further discussion?
None.
None. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay, and so what do you think of the schedule? Is tomorrow good? Cemeteries, highways, and police?
Yes.
Okay.
Is police all set to go?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'll have that printout
Yeah.
for you.
Didn't you? Who worked with? Oh, was it Ashley that worked with him? Who worked with
Oh, no.
Jamie?
Oh, no.
Police, I'm showing 11-12. We're not doing police 12?
The first column's your column. The second column's budget committee.
Oh, they don't wanna do it, okay.
So, yeah, I have all of Jamie's things. I can,
We should probably try to squeeze, personnel administration and insurance into
Tomorrow?
the, no. 11-5. I mean, I'd rather,
I won't be here to present them.
where are you gonna be?
Hawaii.
It's budget season, you don't get to go to Hawaii in budget season.
I bet she is.
I'm sure she is.
Whether we like it or not.
So the 18th, you're back with us, or?
I'll be back on the 13th.
Alright. And we're not meeting
Until the 18th, unless you want to have another separate workstation,
yeah.
work session. Sorry.
I just hate pushing the budget out into December, but if it is, it doesn't matter.
Well,
Well, it looks like we're going to have our job wrapped up.
Yeah.
18th November.
and I asked Rob if he couldn't meet 11/26. I don't know why there's no meeting the week of Thanksgiving.
Well,
He might be expecting travel.
He might be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another good week to.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
week. Yeah,
not
that's
really.
probably not a good week.
Tuesday.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, probably not a good week.
I,
But to have it wrapped up on the 18th, I think is good.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds
Okay. Let's
good.
see.
We have warrants to do yet.
Right. I have a couple drafted. HEB engineers, I have a couple small invoices for the FEMA things that they've put through. I'm not quite sure what line item I should charge those to. So I need,
Those get charged to the warrant? They should.
I don't think we have a warrant
We
yet.
did. We passed a warrant for, what road is it?
Sodom and Union Wharf.
That we got.
And so that kind of leads to my next question. In other towns I've been in this, under financial administration, or an executive, the selectmen have a consultant line to do small engineering,
Well,
fire studies.
That's not generally.
is this considered, could we, it's a stretch, could we consider that, putting that in the legal line?
No,
No, but you're gonna underspend legal, so.
we had a hard enough time getting the contract through there. with our firm. I put it through other streets, docks and bridges,
Okay, I like that one.
yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
It's not a dock, it's not a bridge, but it's another street.
Culverts are considered bridges by the state.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
There you go.
We've got money in the grants and hazardous mitigation plan update that's unspent this year
Fires?
under emergency management.
Right, but didn't he tell us that it was gonna get spent?
No, not till next year.
Not till next year.
Not till next year, right, okay. I mean, it should go into highways somewhere and other highways.
Okay.
Not emergency management?
It's not really a.
They
what's
did
it for?
funding assistance, FEMA funding assistance.
Well, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management.
There you go.
So,
You mean that broke place?
either one, Mr. Chairman, wherever you want it.
I'm only one member of a three-member board. I think my personal opinion is I think highways and streets is gonna be tapped out.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to be adding any more to it that we don't have to. I think we should find another place to put it. And I would recommend putting it under the grants and hazardous mitigation plan update line, because that line is gonna go virtually unspent this year.
Can you make that a motion?
I'll make that a motion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Generally, what we've done in the past, now that we've gone through that exercise, is put our engineering with HEB into the other bridges and highways. Same thing with the warp. All of our engineering costs generally go through.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-all, right?
Okay, I'm gonna,
For
So
engineering.
for engineering,
all right,
right.
I'm gonna put something there. Ivy wrote to me today from Revision Energy. They should be out in the next few weeks. And so hopefully it'll be, 24 hours. I'll let you know when she's coming and hopefully you can be out on the site and meet her.
Can't you-
So is that what this is for, is a site walk? What's it for?
Yes, as part of the due diligence, they're coordinating with a wetland scientist to verify the absence of wetlands in the area the array is planned in. They should be visiting the site in the coming weeks and will be in touch with you to make sure the timing works for the facility. So,
Okay.
okay, and they're still aiming to reach their notice to proceed in February or March of 2025. All right,
The last week of October, I'm not gonna be around much,
okay.
so keep that in mind, please. Unless it's early in the
Are you
week.
going to Hawaii
Same.
too?
If it's gonna,
Jack is?
Jack's going?
Yes.
Was this a group trip? I didn't get asked.
so if it's gonna be early in the week, the last week of October, I can
Yeah.
make it, but if it's gonna be like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I can't.
The last week of October is really a stretch for me.
Are you going to Hawaii too?
No,
Jesus.
He wishes he was.
I do wish I was.
So we should be able to tell her when we'd like to have
Okay.
her to say it. I mean,
Yeah.
100,000 here and 100,000 there. Sometimes it adds up to some real money after a while.
Okay, the quote went out for the police department to 6 or 7 names that Jack gave me.
The RFP.
The RFP, sorry, request for proposal. I still don't have your Excel list of USDA grant requirements. I have asked Highways in tomorrow with their budget, but I've asked for some text, for some backup, haven't received it. So response is difficult. I also asked him to bring the quote for the guardrail and the improvements to the highway building, because those are both CIP things.
When's he coming in?
Tomorrow.
Okay, cause the other thing, did you look at the paving quote where it was
It was very confusing.
300
To look at.
thousand for
Yes.
300 something thousand for Ledge Hill? Well, that prompted me to go to Skelly's to get gas via Sodom Road. And I drove it. And I don't know why we're not doing the same thing on Sodom Road that the state's doing on all the roads. Put an inch and a half on it and call it a day. I mean, that would save us $150,000 on that quote. And it would bring us, now we're back in line with getting Ledge Hill done, Pine Mill done, and top coat on Sodom.
Here, well, let's have that conversation tomorrow.
Just so you know where I'm gonna be, so I'm letting you know ahead of time on that.
Okay, cool.
I did put the paving quotes into the CIP for the selectmen. I also put in culverts without fixed prices. I just received quotes like Friday for Lake Road and Melvin, so I'll have all of those. And this placeholder's inside CIP already, so I think they're happy that the selectmen have presented something this year. And then based on all those numbers, you know, we'll have them in 1 year or another to get it accomplished.
Okay.
So let's see. I forgot to ask fire chief about doing CPR training at the transfer station. There's often they feel like they should have it. We have a workstation that the deputy tax collector uses and Ashley uses. It's ergonomically not good for either of them. The tax collector is hesitant to have it moved. It's always been like that, but I've had both
Where
women's.
would it move to?
There's a piece of furniture underneath, so they can't put their legs under the table. And the monitor is here. So this is not good, sitting at the edge.
No.
What, that didn't answer my, you're as bad as a
So
fire chief.
I just want to move it straight and move that piece of furniture. But if it's too big of a argument,
What,
I can move a file cabinet and make another workspace.
is that a file cabinet, that piece of furniture?
No. It's a small little,
Thank you.
oh, she has a picture.
Oh, it's a shelf thing.
Yeah, we
Oh,
moved,
yeah.
we
I
move
remember.
it, we moved it and then
That's a good-
we got in trouble. So I don't know if that's a conversation or if we just want to avoid it and make a different space in that
And what
room.
happens to the boxy computer thing there?
That's fine, stay in there, it has to
That's
stay
fine.
there. It has to go on to a UPS, it's not on a UPS, it's just plugged into the
Okay.
wall.
This is a clever device. What do you call it?
So, I'm gonna be the asshole here.
Okay,
Conflict resolution is an important part of your job.
okay,
So I would suggest that you work with that. Conflict resolution. Come up with a solution that's equitable to both parties.
Well, that being said, I think that I'd like to say.
I have a
the
warrant
conflict-
article ready.
The conflict should be resolved in favor of workplace safety.
There's economic ramifications if there's a claim for lack of ergonomics.
Yes.
So
Don't tell
that's
me
a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
In terms of
that. Yeah, we'll blame
What-
it on David. He knows all this stuff. He works in it all the
well,
time.
I will say this: Liberty Mutual spends an awful lot of money to make sure that we are comfortable in our workstation because we spend 8 hours a day there. And I guarantee you that they have claims for carpal tunnel, for any number of things. It is a real problem. So
It
yes.
is a real thing, and
And
it was one of, ergonomics was one of the topics of the joint loss.
Yeah, we don't
Committee.
care, just fix it.
Okay. All right, I'll bring that warrant article tomorrow.
Bob's gonna be busy at home.
Bob did a great job thanking all the volunteers in the camp for our.
Did you go to the,
I did.
was it good?
Oh, it was very good. A great meal.
Fire
Camp
department
Belknap?
at all? Did they
Huh?
come? Did the fire department go?
Nobody
wait.
nobody from fire or police showed.
One person from fire, Mr. Wood.
Mr. Wood, who I sat right next to.
From fire, but,
Yeah.
okay.
There was somebody more or less from each department.
Yeah.
But
We should
it
try
was
to
poorly
encourage them to-
attended.
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of disappointed that the amount of people that didn't show up. But it was a nice presentation.
Yeah.
They did a great job with food. It was funny watching everybody eat fast because it was so cold. The food was cooling down quickly.
You have the heat on?
Everybody, no, the heat was not on. They had little heaters.
There's no heat in the building. It's a camp. It's
Didn't work
the
very
dining
well.
camp.
But
But
it was nice, and
the boat ride was terrific. The tour of the grounds was terrific. So
Yeah, the boat ride's gonna go on the front cover, I think, of the town report. That's
well, I thought the
idea.
wharf was going on.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. But
That's
we'll
where you
talk
spent
about
all
it.
your money.
Doesn't matter where we spend, I don't like the picture, you know? And it really is presenting the town, that's a town report, so.
Okay, I will give you a choice of pictures and let you vote.
Thank you.
I'm gonna help Steve Scapicchio with the application for Mare Lake. And the deed for the Carlton property has been filed. It's now the town's property. So
Have we paid for it?
Yes, we
yep,
signed the
everything,
check last.
everything signed, sealed,
last week.
delivered.
Okay.
Horizon, the CIP. Parks and Rec, I talked to Dennis and he thinks he's coming back next week, part-time, see what he can do. I believe they're not gonna do the trunk or treat or Halloween things, they're gonna let those slide and then move on to Christmas events. So that, and things for the winter at the school. And you saw the letter about Melissa Chapo, I don't know.
That's how I.
The road on 21.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're still waiting for the DRA to confirm the tax rate. The school's in. We're waiting for the county. I asked Melissa if it was going to be sent up soon. And I got the putting the earned time in one bucket. I got that and talked to Melissa about that as well last week. So
Good.
hopefully I'll bring that back to you soon. Ashley's doing good learning the spreadsheet and supporting Rob. And I wanted to remind you to bring up
He's doing good.
cemetery
Doing well.
Thank you.
cemetery things maybe tomorrow because we don't have all the records for cemetery available. And I felt like it was an inordinate amount of time reconciling cemetery lot sales. And as a result, I created a new tracking system for the office to use so I don't have to go through that again. And that's all I had.
Good.
Any questions?
No. No.
So how much of that should we bring up at the budget meeting with Sue? How much of the clerical that you're struggling with on the cemetery?
Well, can we
I mean,
even?
most of this
Well, I
information.
think the biggest concern is I think I can track back all the plot sales, but we don't know who's buried where if we're asked. And they're records that should be in the municipality, not in someone's home.
Right.
And then once they're here, we can create a spreadsheet and have Ashley work on it to update.
Right, and then we can create a space.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me clarify what I think I just heard you say.
Yes.
That our cemetery plots are in somebody's home. The record keeping for
Yeah.
said plots is in someone's home.
For the burials, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those need to come to their file cabinet and then we can
Yes.
You know, maybe they should actually be in the fireproof area.
They should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
That,
fairly,
that seems like not standard operating procedure, say, in other towns.
prior to me being here.
Well, I remember when the tax records were all at, the lady in,
Mary Craig?
no,
No.
before that, down on top of Romac.
Oh.
You know, it's just the way it was. We all lived through it.
But tomorrow
Right.
should be relatively painless. I can tell you, Jamie, it was a big learning curve on the police budget, so,
Mhm.
but I think you did a good job.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
So I think Sue is gonna probably present us with a warrant article for restorations that probably ought to plug in.
Okay.
And I
Good.
also already spoke to her about talking to Jim Bean.
Is this your update?
It might as well be, about tree work, because she needs all this tree work done in these old cemeteries, can't get anybody there. And I think part of it is it just doesn't have enough scale. So if the highway department's hiring some guy for $50,000 or $100,000 to do tree work on roads, to
Mhm.
just plug in the cemetery. tree
Absolutely.
And make it all one big contract. So
Absolutely.
that was my thought. The rest of my time was spent on budget. But I think I'm feeling much better about the fire budget right now.
Well, as our budget committee representative,
Yeah,
well done.
see how it goes.
Thank you for your efforts.
Yeah, if we can get a constant update on that sort of thing, that would be nice too. I mean, I'd like to get a track on it. No, if we get the printouts on the budgets and I figure out where we are at now as opposed to last year in our budgeting. Cause we really need to keep it pretty close. And we're gonna have, we don't have the administrative and insurance yet, so that's gonna be a little bit of could be a struggle, although you heard that it was only 8%.
I think Teresa told me it was 7%. So as soon as,
So 7% on the health insurance.
I think the fire department may actually have a candidate in mind, or worst case for insurance purposes, I can plan the 3 new people,
Yeah.
2 police and fire as family people, cause I
Right.
need to estimate health insurance and.
Well, I think the newest police officer doesn't have a family, other than, yeah, right, it's just a matter of time.
Right. You good?
I'm good, thanks, I'm sorry.
Dave, anything for you? Nope, same here. Anything that I was gonna say, I've already talked about tonight. Any other business? Well, yeah, we have a,
Of the time, the health
There,
savings plan?
that's just a quick non-public, I think.
Yeah. Any other business that we think we need to discuss? Okay. I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public. For RSA 91A:3(2)C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person unless such person requests an open meeting. The rest is irrelevant.
I'll second.
Murray, aye.
Duffin, aye.
I'll be aye. Come out of non-public?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any other business we need to conduct tonight? Then I'll move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.